Welcome to the lab, everybody. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It's good to be here. Great to see you guys. Thank you all for being patient. Sorry about the delay, as we were just trying to finish up some last minute things. So I appreciate you guys' patience. A special guest in the house tonight. We're going to be taking some of your phone calls as well. Let me just bring them up here. And don't worry, I fixed his name, so.
Why, my name was wrong?
I spelled it wrong. Well, I didn't spell it well. I know how to spell your name. You're also a forensic psychologist, but I don't know. It autocorrected to something anyway. Dr. Gary Brucato in the house. Thank you so much, forensic psychologist, and works with the Cold Case Foundation. He's a member of the Cold Case Foundation, a prominent figure in the true crime community. You could see him on places like The Interview Room. He's also done Nancy Grace, Brian Enton. Just recently was just on a show that aired tonight that I still have not seen, and I'm very frustrated about that, but that's I'll catch it tonight. But he's also the author of The New Evil. If you have not read that book, and if you are into I guess you could say the criminal mind, and it's not just any criminal mind, it's the worst of the worst. Dr. Brucato also has I believe it's the largest database for mass murder in the world, correct?
Yeah, I've co-created with Dr. Gergis at Columbia Medical Center when I was there, and that's still used, in research. But the show tonight was an interesting one. Brian Enton did a kind of rundown of the case. Little things that, believe it or not, I sort of heard for the first time. I thought little things here and there that I thought were interesting. For example, unless I'm very much mistaken, I had not heard before how they established that one of the ransom notes was authentic until that was discussed tonight. So I thought that was interesting. And there was this long patch at the last 20 minutes is Dr. Ann Burgess, Dr. Casey Jordan, and me with Brian kind of profiling the case. And they gave us a lot of airtime there. And I thought, it was a much longer conversation, but I thought that what was picked out of it was all that was needed to sort of paint our picture. They did a good job. I'm sure it's going to get, aired all over the or YouTube or whatever over the next few days, so you'll see it.
Well, this makes sense why I couldn't find it on the CW, because I guess it's not going to air till 9 my time. So
is that what they did? Oh, I thought that it aired at 9 Eastern.
Well, if you watched it on the app, but I don't have the app for CW.
Well, actually, you could download it and you could watch anything for free. You just download the app and you can watch. They don't charge you. You just have to use your email to set an account up. I think it's
I
free.
know.
I had downloaded it. I just didn't. I wanted to go watch it with family, but I think people will enjoy it. I have to admit that, I think it was a pretty good summary. But you see, even someone else in the audience said that they also caught what I did, which is that, Josh, I think you'll also find it very interesting, is that they just say, sort of like, slip in, nonchalantly, this thing that I found quite interesting, because they said that they established that one of the ransom notes was true because it made reference to a broken floodlight on Nancy's house and the specific placement of her Apple Watch.
I've heard the Apple Watch before, though.
But I heard about an Apple Watch, but I did not hear that an Apple Watch and a floodlight were mentioned in the ransom note, and that's how they knew the ransom note was real.
I heard before. From what I remember, because so much has transpired during the case, but from what I remember was that it was brought up that there were some specifics in the first note that matched what was going.
Now we know what they are. That's what I'm saying. Now we know what they are.
It never completely specified, from what I understood or what I understand.
Right, and also, Bob Killiam, who you may know, the retired homicide detective that you see often on the interview room lately, on the Guthrie case. It's great. He had been saying in one of our recent episodes that he really thought there was this like large chunk of time that the investigators thought it was like a person who was just missing or wandered off or whatever, and that was confirmed tonight, that it did look like there really was a long chunk of time, that even with blood on the porch, they thought they didn't treat it like a crime scene as much.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I don't know.
Right. So that's interesting, right?
Yeah. Yes. And then you have the FBI director, Kash Patel, coming out yesterday on Sean Hannity's show saying that they were kept out for about 4 days, that the FBI had a plane on standby with DNA. Now, I got to tell you, I don't know who, I don't know who's telling what or the truth, but I'm sure that the FBI was willing to do this. They obviously were willing to do this. And I mean, if this is true, that the FBI was kept out with all their great resources that they have, and they do have great resources, it's
right,
pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you.
But just to clarify something people are saying in the audience, we're not saying that we hadn't heard about the floodlight and that we hadn't heard about the Apple Watch. What I don't remember ever hearing was that those two pieces of information are what established a ransom note as real. That's the part that I did not know. But as far as like the floodlight and the Apple, I think we've heard that before, right? You remember, Josh, hearing about the
Yep,
the
I
Apple.
sure do.
But did you ever hear before that established the note? I don't remember that.
I can't.
I mean, who knows? Who can keep track anymore? But it would be good, Josh, if you could watch the show. I think you'll be interested to see the opinions.
Yeah.
And also I appeared with Chris McDonough and Maureen O'Connell and Jim Clemente, the FBI profiler. I think he's FBI profiler. On a podcast that Maureen has that you could find online. I could actually give you the name if you're interested to know what it is, but that was a long interview where we sort of debated through conflicting theories and sort of arrived in the middle, which I thought was really interesting. Let me see. I have the name here. It's called Best Case, Worst Case. Best Case, Worst Case.
That's the name of the podcast.
Episode 488. Yeah, and the episode is called When Great Minds Meet.
Where can we find that?
Well, I see it on Apple Podcasts, but I don't know. I'm assuming you can find it pretty much anywhere that podcasts are found. So, but I think that's a good one to watch because it's professionals that have a lot of experience getting together and trying to put their heads together and say, look, we don't agree on this, but let's sort of say, let's see if we can find something in the middle that makes sense. And I really enjoyed that. I liked the conflict. I liked the challenges to the ideas that we're taking for granted and a
Yeah.
different way of thinking.
And
Jim
also,
Clemente presented a theory that had to do with somebody being obsessed with Savannah or her mother, and that was interesting. You know, we talked about likelihoods and all of that. What were you going to say?
well, my first introduction to Jim Clemente was the Jean-Benet Ramsey case. He did a special on CBS a long time ago, I remember, and I like listening to him. He's got some interesting thoughts and theories. Seems, you know, he's bright, no doubt, and so I look forward to hearing you guys go with that. And McDonough was also on TMZ yesterday, I believe.
Yes, I thought that was great. Yeah, well, you know, we're really all over the place with this. You know, of course, the funniest thing is the Parade article that gives the top 10 podcasts reporting on the Guthrie case.
I did not make that list. Can you believe that?
Well, I mean, the funniest thing is that they call Chris cantankerous, which
Well, he is.
Of course, Chris is going to fully embrace and loves.
Yeah.
His garbage pail kid's name, you know, cantankerous Chris. And you remember what they said about me, which it's too humiliating to repeat.
Yeah, I'll say it, that you're an unlikely heartthrob.
Hey, that's what they said, okay?
Why
But
unlikely?
because I'm an academic, and I mean, either that or because they think I'm a dog. I don't know, but I think what they mean is that I'm an academic and
I didn't make that list, but I did make in Parade. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
where they were talking about one of my theories, and which was nice. But I saw I read the article and I said, dang, Dr. Gary is just out here doing his Brad Pitt impression.
Oh yeah, right. No, but it was really, really very funny. And but the other pods that made the list, I mean, I don't, you know, I'm not going to give my opinions on what should and shouldn't have been there. But it was an interesting list. I mean, I thought it was odd you weren't there, to be honest with you. But I mean, I thought you did better work than a couple of the ones that, I mean, without naming them, that I thought were that were there.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's fine. They, like I said, they wrote about me a week before, 2 weeks before, and you know, any press is good press. But I was happy to see that the interview room was so high up on that list.
It's number 2.
Yeah.
There's something funny about that too. It's number 2.
A show that I've been a friend of and contributed to for, you know, a long time now, and Chris also a huge contributor to my show, and then, you know, you guys, Bob and John, and, you know, so I was, but it made my day when it said that you were an unlikely heartthrob. I loved.
Well, that's so stupid that I can't handle it. But did you look at what people are saying in the chat now? Thanks. But the did you see number 1? What number 1 was? Yeah, and look, you know, that's JLR, and I think the truth is JLR has really been in the thick of it down there, right? I mean, he's really the top of things. So I can understand that. I
mean, you're out there for 50-something days, yeah, for sure. No, I saw it.
Yeah, but it was the way it was written had a kind of snark to it. You know, that's the whole idea. They made like snarky comments about everybody.
They made snarky comments about everybody. That's true.
But you were spared, so don't be too upset about
that. I didn't understand the cantankerous part, but I thought it was funny. I mean, like you said, Chris is absolutely going to lean into that, and as he should. He's like, I was asking him about that, and I was like, I don't even think he's cantankerous. I mean,
but it's hysterical, and of course it's like a garbage pail kid name, right? Cantankerous Chris, and you know he's going to eat that up. I mean, you know, good. I love people who can lean into something somebody said about them that's funny or critical, because you know, I remember I had a mentor years ago who said to me that was the hallmark of a psychologically healthy person, is that when people tease you about something, you can be okay with that, like, because you're not so insecure that you can't handle it, right? Like when you tell me, "Oh, Gary, you never shut up. You talk too much. Your answers are too long."
Never said
Of
that, by
course.
the way.
But if you said it, or if you said
You
like,
never stop
if
talking.
you
And
said you're long-winded,
I
you
never
couldn't
said
make
that
that.
either.
But I think it. If you said it, I would agree with you.
Come on.
If you said stop talking about Sherlock Holmes, which
I've said
I
that.
read too much, I would agree. If you said, "Oh, you recite too much poetry,"
I've
yeah,
said
I
that.
would lean into that. Yes, don't bring up DP Cooper. I would definitely agree with those things. So I'm just saying, like, I think it's great that Chris thinks that's funny. It's
I
freaking funny.
Chris actually has an incredible sense of
Yeah.
humor. All you have
Yes,
to do is watch his show, and I used to make memes in his head on like fat Santas where their belly was showing, and I did all kinds of stuff like that. And I mean, he would throw his head back laughing. I mean, it was a genuine laugh. Or then when I would imitate his voice, you've heard me do that, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so, and he would laugh about that stuff. So it was I thought it was I think I think he's hilarious. So let me just read this really quick, and then we'll by the way, no poetry, no Sherlock Holmes. By the way, man, I'm telling you. So I put up a standalone video where we took that call about the guy where why didn't the family pay the ransom?
Oh,
And
the
it's
like 20-minute call.
yeah. I cut it down, but it was still like 19 minutes. And it's funny because you get this like mixed bag of comments and stuff, and like most comments are really, really nice and stuff, but like people go, well, why don't you let Gary talk more, or why do you make the caller talk less? Why do you spend so much time on callers and things like this? And look, I understand the criticisms and I understand the critiques and stuff like that. The problem is that that was what we do is like I mean, they're not always that long, but that was a 4.5-hour show, for God's sakes, And I mean, we're talking, we're listening, so I get it. I understand. We work on it. Sometimes some calls we get through fast, some calls we don't get through as fast, and it's just kind of the flow of the show. So, to be honest with you, without being rude and sounding mean or anything like that, I run the show the way that I always have. And, I don't typically take suggestions on how fast to move through calls. I just don't. I mean,
it was a long call, and the person
it was the last call of the night.
Had a lot of detail and wanted to get it all out and all of that. And I just sort of listened, because I wanted to hear the whole hypothesis, without saying, being critical of somebody's ideas.
That wasn't even our longest call of the night, Gary.
No, definitely not. I mean, but some calls that we get are so moving that it's not possible to clip the person. They're heartbroken. I mean, do you realize some of the things that happened that evening? I mean, some of the calls we got. I mean, the show started with somebody calling in, telling us that they had a conviction in an assault case against them. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And then it was like followed by like zany, wacky humor, and then next thing you know, we're back to like serious, and someone calling about having a son who had a father that was sort of, remember that whole thing that had passed away, and he was going to pass away, and he was having a hard time. In other words, it's like this cycle. And I just think people need time. You have to just give them time. I hate sound bites. I think they are a sign of a declining mind. They're a sign of a declining era in terms of intelligence, where people think that you can wrap up in 10 seconds a deep thing. It's like wisdom by bumper sticker. It reminds me of when I worked in a bookstore when I was in my doctoral training. My master's to my doctorate is I worked in book business for a long time to make money, extra money. And I'll never forget, I was in the city and these two hipsters came in if hell really has the structure Dante envisioned with the layers, like there's a special layer for hipsters. and they drive me crazy. And with the ironically hip T-shirts, and they're too cool to bathe, that kind of thing. And what happened is these two hipsters were talking about a book that was called Nirvana in 30 minutes or less, something like that. And one said to the other one, "You have got to try Nirvana, man. It is so cool. I got this book. I tried it last week, and I hit Nirvana. It was so cool." And it was like, really? I could squeeze that in, between like Pilates and whatever. And I was like, okay, you achieve Nirvana when you go home, like as quickly as you can prepare rice. And I couldn't take it. Let me tell you, if you want to be driven up a wall, work in retail.
I did for a while.
Yes. Oh, you did? Because I
owned a sporting goods store for a while.
You owned a sporting goods store? The things we learn about each other. I didn't know that.
I started working there when I was probably 25, and then eventually took it over and became mine. And
that's amazing. It's just that I've had people come talk to me, or at least one person admit to me that they purposely went to the area in a store to complain to a manager because it made them feel powerful. That they liked that, like the little, the worker was going to get in trouble because of their complaint. It gave them a power trip. I mean, that's a real thing. There are people who have that power trip. What I used to love to do was to put books into the system that didn't exist because I thought it was hilarious. I created book titles. I created a book called Ventriloquism for Dummies, which still to this day I laugh about. And, it's...
Well,
come on, isn't that great?
Yeah. I was having lunch the other day. I was in this restaurant, and I was sitting at the table by the exit, and some lady was leaving, and she was saying, I just looked up, and she was saying, she's like, "You guys suck," and I was like, "What?" And then she's like, "You suck." And then the waitress is like, "Bye," like that, and I was like, I thought they were joking. And the lady was like screaming at her that she sucked, her service sucked, her attitude sucked. I didn't have that, and I was like, the lady was like, walked right by me. And then the waitress comes up to me. She goes, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "The lady screaming?" "Yeah, I heard." And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." She wasn't yelling at me. She's yelling at you. But I think, like, even if you don't like the service of somebody and things like that, I think that's just a little much.
Well, not leaving a tip, I think, is really gross. I would tip a person even if they treated me badly.
Really?
Because it's their pay. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean badly, but like if they were mediocre, I would still tip them equally. I am a very generous person. I don't like, oh, look at this jerk in the audience. Dr. Gary loves to hear himself talk. Yeah, and I don't like to hear you talk.
Do you really?
Yeah, get rid of them. So hit the exit button. Bye-bye. Boom. Throw them out. Okay, have a nice day. Okay, so, but what are they doing here? Get rid of them. Are they gone? Out. Exit.
Shoot them out. Yeah, they're gone.
Into that hole that they have in Austin Powers, where Dr. Evil sends you. Okay, but I remember one time when I was working retail, I was at the desk, and there was this guy that we hired who spoke virtually no English, and his accent was very dense when he tried to speak. And they put him, for whatever reason, at the info desk, and he couldn't help anybody because he didn't understand what they were saying. But we felt sorry for him; we wanted to help him. And what happened is this very nasty woman, who sort of woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I think she always did. Somebody probably should have told her to move the frickin' bed away from the wall because there's another side she can get out of, But she was always getting out of the wrong side of the bed. And she came in and was being very nasty to him. And I remember she was trying to look a book up that had the word Medusa in it. Now, this was an irony in and of itself. And I remember that she had a thin layer of hair on her upper lip, a down on her upper lip, that kind of. And so anyway, so she comes up, and I hear her yelling at this poor boy. And she says to him, How long do you have to be in the country to know the word Medusa? And the kid, and this is the best part, the kid who spoke virtually no English, in broken English, said to her, "Lady, have you never heard of the word nair?" And I'm telling you, I almost fell off the chair. I had to be like nice to the lady, but when I heard that, I was so hysterical that he knew the word nair to insult her that I thought it was the funniest thing. Well, it brings out the best in terms of wackiness. And the best is the loudspeaker, going on the loudspeaker to tell people that it's time to go.
Yeah.
You have that? I love doing that.
I used to have
Ladies and gentlemen, time to get the hell out.
I used to when I worked at Foot Locker when I was a teenager. I used to play like there would be people in the store and the mall stayed open until 9 o'clock. So there would be people in there just kind of like mulling around, and I would turn on the boombox. I would play Closing Time like every single.
Right.
And my boss would get so pissed that I would do that. And
the party.
And I would just start singing it, just like, you don't have to go home, and then my boss would just like, you can't do that. All right.
You bring back the funniest memory. One time, this person came into the store that we were all convinced was doing a fake French accent. And we figured out that he was coming from the acting school that was near the store, and I think thought it was funny to try to deceive us. And he spoke in exactly the accent of Lumiere from the Beauty and the Beast, and we couldn't stop laughing because it was so fake. He would sound exactly like this. He'd go, "Hello, I am here to buy some books." And we were like, why is he sounding like Maurice Chevalier? Like, it was so ridiculous. He'd be like, "Oh, hello, Bonbon. I'm here to buy my books today." And I'd be like, "All right, I'm done with you." So it's
like unbelievable.
These weird people, And then, of course, and then we'll end on this. There was this person that became obsessed that they had lost a shirt in the store that was what was it? A special sparkly, a special sparkly shirt. A special sparkly shirt. And then one day I'm working, putting things on the shelf, and this woman
was it Richard Simmons?
The phone. No, she picks up probably. She picks up the phone that's there and gets on the loudspeaker. Picks up the thing, and we hear her. "Does anybody have my special sparkly shirt?" We had to escort her out. I mean, it's just there's a special breed that comes into retail now. We have to have this laugh because we're probably going to get some very serious calls. I feel it in my bones that we're going to get some heavy calls tonight. So I like to have the levity before because it's just too, some of these calls are really painful. And I'm sure we'll get some of the usual cast, that contacts us, but every once in a while there's a zinger. And so are you okay, Josh? You seem a little subdued today. Something on your mind?
No.
You sure? Nothing stressed out outside of the show?
No.
Maybe just tired?
Nope.
Okay. Your energy seems a little different today. Maybe I'm just a little bit too.
You talk too much.
Yeah. Getting on your nerves. What can I say? Did you decide to go to CrimeCon?
I will not know until this weekend, but I want to go. Yeah.
Keeping everybody in suspense.
But I
would go only if you do.
Well, I'm just waiting because I have to know about what my sister's doing because I need somebody to be able to
take care of the
dogs and my grandma. Yeah. So
I
understand. If it was just me, I would probably already be there hammered.
Oh yeah. Well, the party, not party, but the social stuff that surrounds what the public sees, like all the kind of behind the scenes of people sort of milling and getting is my favorite thing. I loved that, like you're sitting at a table and there's like there's the host of a podcast you watch all the time, and there's the lawyer that was like, on a top case, and there's the news reporter you watch all the time, and there's, the producer, and they're all just networking and talking. And for that reason, it is a good idea to go. And also to bring merch, sell merch.
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of just go to Vegas. All right, so let's
All right,
hop in.
let's jump in. Enough of the levity. A little less jaw work and a little more paw work, as they say.
Let's see here. Yeah, well, I think my voice is sounding better, but I'm still not better. Like it's
That's what I'm picking up on. You were ill?
Yeah.
Oh, because I can feel your energy is different.
I've gotten over the majority of it, but it's just like lingered, man. It's just like been a pain in the butt.
Oh, you had a hemorrhoid?
No, but well, figuratively, I guess. The hemorrhoid of life. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our first call. Monica, go ahead, Monica. You're on. Monica,
There's a pain in the butt. Take me literally. Hi, Monica.
I don't have a hemorrhoid, just so you know.
That's okay. I am a hemorrhoid. Go ahead.
Well, I think we lost Monica.
I think she's blowing into a dog whistle. Wait, hold on. Ah, Timmy's in trouble? No, seriously.
Hi, Monica.
Monica?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Can, yes.
Yes. Turn the tin can toward your face and pull the string away from it. Are you there? I can't hear her, Josh.
I know. It's a problem. All right, Monica. Let's see. We'll come back to you.
Monica ever called back? Called us before.
Carol Ann, go ahead. You're on the air, Carol Ann.
Carol Ann.
Hi, Monica. We'll come back.
So,
Make sure that whatever you're watching, make sure it's muted. All right, we're off to a roaring start.
how are you, Josh? I'm sorry to hear you don't feel well.
Who is this?
So this is Carol Ann.
Can you hear me?
Why do I feel like the Long Island medium right now? Seriously, there's like voices coming
in. Good evening, everybody.
Good.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Where are you calling?
I don't know if you can hear me. I can't.
Can you hear me?
I don't hear you.
Oh boy.
This is a drag.
Instruct on the that she just
hello.
typed the question.
Oh.
Are you there?
I think I hear you now. Okay, I hear you now.
Okay.
Are we coming in loud and clear?
How are you, Josh? I'm sorry to hear you don't feel well.
Make sure
Somebody adjusted the planchette on the Ouija board.
My name.
Like the Long Island.
Mute your YouTube.
It sounds like, where is she? Underwater? Sounds like she's calling us from a lobster pot. Where is she?
I don't know.
Monica?
It's Carol Ann.
What the hell happened to Monica?
Can you hear me?
Monica's gone.
I don't hear you.
Carol Ann for Poltergeist? Come out of the TV. Walk into the light, Carol Ann. So is Carol Ann still there?
Carol Ann, can you mute your YouTube?
Oh.
All right.
This is so chaotic. I can't handle it.
You know. All right, we're gonna
sparkly silvery shirt. All right, next. That was good. 2 calls over with. We chopped 45 minutes of the show. Next.
Creative Crafter, you're on. Hopefully, at least.
Sounds like a Marvel villain. 2 calls over with. We chopped 40. Uh-oh.
Creative Crafter, you're on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, but you got to mute your.
Can you hear us? Come, oh spirits, unsex me here.
Can you hear me?
All right, dude. I'm this close. I'm this close,
What
dude.
is going on? Where are you sending these calls?
Gary, I'm shutting it down.
No. It's hilarious. You got to admit this is funny. Come on. She's like, hello? All right, wait. Seriously. You have to tell them that they must shut off the show.
That's what Gary, that's what it says in the link. It says, please mute your YouTube when you call. That's the one thing. That's the only thing I asked. That's it.
Nobody reads instructions.
All
Do you
right,
really
well,
not clip those things off of your pillow that says "Do not remove" under penalty of law? Nobody reads those things. Seriously,
I do.
as a
All right,
general
Creative
comment,
Crafter, are you there?
what? Who is this?
I'm
Creative
here.
Craft?
I have my YouTube muted. Can you hear
We can now.
me?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you hear us?
I have my YouTube muted.
Okay, good. Yes. Speak your question.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Okay. I have my YouTube.
You don't.
I've been thinking a lot of, can you hear me?
Josh, we have to conduct a more tidy show here.
Okay, I'm gonna try again. Can you hear me now? It's
okay.
going a little slow.
Yes. Type in the chat. That you should just...
I have a question I wanted to ask. It's based on some observations I have made in regards to the Nancy Guthrie case. I live in a desert community that's very similar to Nancy Guthrie's.
Mm-hmm.
And the people, the geography, the topography, the community is very much like her community there, or that community. And one thing I have observed in the area that I live in is, you know, we're separated by washes and easements. The homes are far back. There's no street lights. There's no cameras on any street lights. They're at the intersections. But the people who know the neighborhood well are, or that visit family in the area, they know the neighborhood because they walk it, they ride their bikes, their dirt bikes, their quads, their e-bikes now. And I've been thinking that the people who are involved in this either lived in that community or visited that community with a family member many times to know it so well. They ran it as a youth. And I think about the person that's been on the porch. And I'm thinking that this group is family related for some reason, that he's either a brother or a cousin of someone who's directing him, that he isn't that smart, that he's probably was an offender as a youth, and he probably has a history or a case record somewhere of where he's been violent or abusive or known that. And the person who's directing him is kind of like a guardian, a guard, you know, someone who kind of watches over him and directs him. And so I'm just wondering what you think is, do you think it could be family related? That's why no one has been turned in, because they know each other, they're related. And that's just been my thoughts on that.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to make any specific comments regarding family because they've been cleared by the sheriff, so it wouldn't be appropriate. But in generic terms, I will repeat what I have said in many places, that I think both the chef and the waiter, because I still think there's a chef and waiter, if not waiters, if not chefs, in some way know this victim, are local and know this victim. People can take that as they wish, but I think it's important to be sensitive to the fact that people are cleared. So I just don't want to make specific statements about specific people. You know, but I think, look, you know, people can know you in a non-intimate way. You know, you could have like the pool guy or the guy that delivers the mail. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be someone who knows you intimately. But I just think we have to we have to be sensitive to that. But it's an interesting question. Josh, do you have anything to add to
Yeah,
that?
but I'm kind of curious. Caller, do you mean that the people that are doing it are family with each other, or that they're related to Nancy herself?
Referred to as the chef and the waiter are related brothers or cousins.
So that okay, so
and
that's
one is directing the other. The other.
Yeah, no, I got what you're saying. So hold on. So Gary, I think what she's saying is that, you know, are the like the entity that's involved, you know, is it possible that their family, not that their family with Nancy, but that these people are related, like it's a family organization?
Oh, I didn't understand. I mean, I suppose so, but now I get it. But even in that, I don't know. I mean, I only know that it would be. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
So
It would, I just know that I'm pretty confident that whoever is involved in this in whatever way has had some encounter with her. You know?
Yeah, I agree with that theory as well. And you know, now that, you know, they're saying that whoever was in the house, it just seems like they obviously knew who was there, or that they, I mean, not that they knew that they had been there before. Like they knew their way around the house. They knew about the front porch, the back. You know, this wasn't something that was just conjured up, sight unseen. It was somebody that they have crossed paths with. I mean, it just has to be. So, anyway,
but on the show tonight, what Dr. Burgess and Dr. Jordan said that was interesting that I didn't say, but they both said, is that they think that it's possible that the person knew Nancy, but Nancy didn't necessarily know them. Like, in other words, she might not have even recognized them, that they might have had a previous encounter and become focused on her. We're looking at her.
Yeah.
But that may not have ever given them a second thought, you know, that kind of thing. And I, you know, I don't know, because I think you can run the gamut from intimately knowing her down to vaguely. But this is not someone who like went into a house with a person they didn't know.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take our next call. Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and take our next call. All right, Carol Ann, make sure to mute your YouTube.
Good.
All you got to do is
mute.
Yep. All you got to do is mute the background, and you're good.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening. I'm doing fine.
Gary, I need your help.
Take a long vacation. Get yourself a mental health expert that likes a good challenge. What's going on?
A good challenge. Hold on one second. I really want to take Carol's call because she seems really, really sweet.
I'll just type the question in the
audience. Carolyn. All right, let's go to an old faithful here. Let's do an old faithful. Carol, stay on the line. All right, Joey, if you have any problems at all, Joey, I'm hanging on.
I don't have problems. The world has problems. I'm good. I'm good.
That's what they all say.
I see Gary's beard's growing out a little bit. He had trimmed it last week, I noticed.
Yeah.
Listen, I had a movie recommendation, but since you guys were talking about retail, I have to flip the switch and bring up an all-time favorite movie of mine about retail I'm a sucker for 1970s made-for-TV ABC movies, and there was a movie, I don't know if you guys saw it, called Trapped. Did you guys see the movie Trapped
I didn't. No.
with
I have-
James Brolin?
I know what it is. I just never saw
You
it.
could probably see it on YouTube. It's so James Brolin is having issues with marriage or whatever, and he's going to buy his daughter a Christmas present, and he gets locked in the, almost like Kmart. He gets locked in there, and the whole movie is him dodging and running from his life from the guard dogs, from the Doberman guard dogs, and he's trapped in the store, and it's great, and
No, I
it's a
haven't
beautiful ending. Yeah. You guys need to cheer up. You guys need to smile a little bit. You opened up so cheery. The phone calls have been crazy. The sound effects, but it sounds like the Carol Ann is the name of the little girl in Poltergeist,
I
who
didn't.
unfortunately passed away. And that's what it sounded like just now. The broadcast sounded like the Poltergeist TV
I
set.
made the same joke.
Yeah, and she's gonna call back, and it's gonna work. It's just this. She might be using those headphones. Those when you use the earplug thing. Sometimes this happens.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so I wanted to give a little something that tell you a little something that happened to me, and then ask a question, and hopefully it'll cheer you guys up. Although it's not that cheery of a story.
Yeah, good luck.
Thought you wanted to cheer up. You're going to tell us a miserable story.
So I had an experience. It was this week, and I'm dying to share it because I have no one else to share it with. It's very rare. It's very rare that I get assigned in the field a client who's literally, the main diagnosis is psychopathy, a psychopath. Mm-hmm. And the problem with this, as they're being released more and more from the prison system now, is to assist in getting them benefits, food benefits, cash assistance, SSI. It's very challenging because they don't take, there's no for that. So to prove there's some kind of medical need for assistance, it becomes very challenging. And so I had to go try to assist this person in getting benefits. So I go to the HRA building, which is like, you go there and you're going to be there for 4 or 5 hours, like you go into the DMV begging for cheese and bread, if you know. So it was wild because it had been a long time since I had been with someone like that. And never in the field. Usually it's in a lockdown unit. So I'm there for 4 or 5 hours. Everything's fine. And, it's hectic, right? It's very intense when you're waiting to get called to deal with food stamps or whatever, benefits. And there's it's a crazy cast of characters in those places. And there's this woman, I don't know if she's drunk, whatever, and she got these 3 kids with her, and the kids are running around and they're kicking people, and her kid is kicked. Her 3-year-old, one of her 3 kids is kicking this guy behind us. And the guy says, if you don't get your kid away from me, I'm going to slap the living you-know-what out of you. And it's getting intense, and the cops are coming, and finally they calm the guy down, they calm the kids down, and then the person I'm with starts playing with the little kid, like, befriending the little kid and scratching the chin and whatnot. Long story short, we rectify everything. We actually pull off getting assistance, and we're leaving. And the person goes, "Can I use the bathroom?" I said, "Of course, go use the bathroom. We'll go get a hot dog or something." So he goes to the bathroom, and he goes, I really lucked out today. I was like, you really did? I mean, I'm not talking about that. I was like, I thought I was going to have to go back and do some time. I was ready for it. I was like, what are you talking about? He had, the whole time that was happening, he was preparing to murder the guy who was pissed off of the woman's kid who was kicking him because he threatened a 95-pound woman, and he wanted to murder him. And the reason I bring this up is because the whole time I'm with him, yeah. Say it again.
How's this supposed to cheer us up?
It's not supposed to
Thanks for
cheer
that
you
story,
up.
Joe. It really made my day.
Yeah,
How is it supposed to cheer you up?
I tell you, Joe, I'm really feeling bleak about the world, and then you just brought sunshine in.
Well, I guess this is not going to cheer you up, but I will say this: the whole point of it, and I'm speaking to myself out loud, is you always have to when you work in the field, and you know this, Gary. You always have to not be always so comfortable, because it was a frank reminder of just how dangerous this type of forensic work is. And I never saw it. I'm a sensitive guy. I'm a cool guy. There was no vibe. There was nothing. There was nothing. It was a reminder of exactly how Bundy and the architect in Long Island, how they all pull this off. You get no detection of it. I would have never guessed in a million years that that's what was going on in his mind. I've never thought that at all. No vibe, no anger, no nothing. So it was just that. So let's go to nothing's cheering you guys up. I don't know what I'm going to do here, because I don't think this is going to cheer you up. But this is my question.
You tap dance?
So I want to ask a question about manifestos, and something with the new evil. So this is going to get you all jolly, Gary, because we're going to talk about a potentially new evil thing for your next book. So manifestos, Ted Kaczynski with the Industrial Society and the Future book. Elliot Rodger, the incel, he had a manifesto.
Right.
Sung Cho, the Virginia Tech shooter, had a manifesto. Anders Breivik, I think his name was, in Norway, the 2083, a European Declaration of Independence manifesto. Have you guys heard about the Gregory Gordon person? Do you guys? And if you haven't, I'll just tell you.
I'm very interested in people who write about their motives.
Great, excellent. All right, so that's what I want to talk about. So Gregory Gordon, for the chat and for others, he's this person who, in 1990, he tried to kill Ronald Reagan post-retirement. Ronald Reagan was living at 666 Cloud Road in Bel Air. The guy, Gregory Gordon, actually got into the mansion, got inside. Nancy saw him and went there to kill Ronald Reagan. Secret Service jumped on him, detained him, and he didn't get to do that. So he publishes books now online. These books, he considers himself what's called the Beast Hunter. He feels like Ronald Reagan, even after death, was and remains the Antichrist. and Gregory Gordon, if you get his books on it, you can get them on Amazon. He self-publishes them. He spells Gordon G-O-R-D, like God. So my question regarding this is about manifestos is two things. One is, Gary, would you say that publishing these kind of works, self-publishing, would this potentially be some kind of new evil in the future? Number one. And number two, the idea of censorship, these people who are able to perhaps self-publish online manifestos, these kind of ideas, would censorship be an infringement on their freedom of speech? I'll shut up. Nothing I said made you guys laugh, but in and of itself, the fact that I'm here should make you happy. Go ahead.
I am happy. And by the way, I'm surprised that you can try to assassinate a president and then get out of prison for it ever.
Every year, this FBI has to meet with him to make sure he's not plotting anything.
They should probably do that a little more often. But I remember. I also remember that famous thing. It was after Reagan got shot, and then he was up on the stage and a balloon popped. And then he was like, "Oh, you missed me." I remember that. I thought that was.
Yeah.
I remember it from. I didn't even know when he was the president because I don't think I was born. But yeah, I don't remember much about Reagan. But Dr. Gary, manifestos. What do you think about that? Is that a form of, these self-publishing? The one that I've always wanted to read, which I don't think were ever released, were Dylan Klebold, Eric Harrison. Eric Harris's manifesto, and I was always interested. I don't know why they will not release those. If no, are those basement tapes?
Well, to answer your question, Joey, the word manifesto, which of course is the Italian for a poster, the idea is that it's a very old thing, actually, where a person takes a document and attaches it, affixes it to a public wall or pole, like a telephone pole or something, so that everybody can read it. Martin Luther technically wrote a manifesto when he wrote his thesis, complaining about all the things the Catholic Church was doing wrong, to signal his desire to leave. So the idea is of a manifesto is that it's a long document in which you expound on your upset about a thing, and you attach it someplace for people to read it. And that is not a new evil at all. These kind of mission-oriented people who think, some of them are psychotic, some of them think that they're doing something that serves a higher thing. Some of them are narcissists that are masquerading as serving a higher thing. That's what I think you might have going on, for example, with Mangione, is trying to look like you're interested in a cause when it's really some kind of narcissistic, arrogant thing to do. But then you also get people like, John Wilkes Booth that are of that type, right? But then you get the type of person who writes a manifesto that's completely bizarre, completely psychotic. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski was in fact someone who suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. But his writings were very clear and organized, and in fact were flawless grammatically, and were found to be associated with an extremely unusually high intellect. And that makes sense with that form of schizophrenia, which we don't use anymore as a label. But the idea is, the new evil is having the ability to widely spread one's manifesto, not by attaching it to the wall in a public place, but by using the internet. That's a new evil for sure.
Okay, good.
You certainly see, for example, that some of these people can post their writings or get their writings spread. For example, how long did it take before the guy that just attempted to attack the president, how long did it take for his writing to get out there? Right. I mean, it's just between television and the internet. I mean, and social media, it's pretty instantaneous.
But that's the thing that I don't get is that because of Eric Harris's like manifesto and the basement tapes that they had, they said that they didn't want to, like the sheriff's department didn't want to release it because they didn't want like glorification. I guess there was some but it seems as though everybody's stuff gets released now. I don't really understand the thought process there anymore.
Well, I mean, maybe they don't want to put something out there where there can be a glorification of people who had ideas.
I mean, but it seems as though everybody's manifestos get out now.
Yeah, but I think there probably are things in there that would be the equivalent of a publisher like publishing Mein Kampf or something. It's like that, it would be, even though people have freedom of the press, it would be like publishing something so outrageous. I mean, would you want to be the publisher that published Mein Kampf?
No. Even
though it's a book that, for historical reasons, should be available, you want to be the one who puts it out there. It's that kind of thing. And I am sure, particularly given the day they chose, Hitler's birthday, that you would see, writings that showed admiration for Adolf Hitler. Don't you think?
Yeah, but I mean, I tried to read some of that book and it sucked.
Mein Kampf? Oh, of course. awful.
It wasn't even well written. Like it was poorly written. Like he
Hitler was a
he wasn't very
very
smart.
boring man. I remember the actor and director Orson Welles, the great Orson Welles, was on a talk show in the 70s, I think it was, and he said that he had met Hitler. He had like to meal with him.
Yeah.
And he said he was the most empty and boring man that he had ever met. A small and boring man. But the moment he got on stage, he transformed into a kind of demoniacal, screaming, fanatical, kind of a mesmerizing figure. But in ordinary life, he was a deeply boring human being.
That was sort of his thing, was the gyrations and the movements that he did when he talked. But then, after that, he was just sort of,
Right.
somebody who sat in his wherever he was and watched movies and stuff like that, and wasn't a particular.
Mein Kampf is technically a manifesto.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a really crappy one too.
Yeah, but it's that's a level of evil. That's like a colossus of evil. I mean, I don't even like to talk about the guy. The amount of evil that was introduced in the world by that one person, and are you
talking about Hitler right now? Is that who you mean?
Yeah, and the long-term effects of are just so catastrophic. It's I mean, there are places in Europe where like 2/3 of the Jews are dead. It's just it's unbelievable. So, but okay, so we're getting some snark from the audience who have those brains that can only handle little brief chats about things. So we'll move on.
I don't really take like I really take
gnats,
I don't think production in the chat. No offense.
After a little while, you stop reading it.
Yeah, Dr. Before I go, and I'm going to go, but the movie I was going to bring up was a movie about a documentary about the right to die. It's called How to Die in Oregon. Whatever. Won't get into it.
I think I heard of that, but it's not on my
It's on Tubi. It's very powerful. It's powerful. You really should see it. But I have a question.
Do you have a joke for us?
Well,
Tell us a joke.
I don't think it's a joke, but I'm curious to see what you have to say about it since you went to seminary school. It makes it.
Boy, are you serious today?
The movie makes you think about death and dying. And I walked to cemeteries. There's a lot of dead people there, and I'm wondering, if you're a good person, you expect to go to heaven. If you believe in heaven, I do. I want to go to heaven, but here's the problem I have, and you might be the person who can help me figure this one out. You go to heaven. There's a lot of people up there, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, but sometimes people pass away and you're kind of happy that they're gone. You're kind of glad. So what happens when we die? We're going to run into these people. When you go to heaven, where do you go to keep away from all the a-holes, all the people that you've been dying to never see again? And then it's like you're eternally trapped in this big, beautiful place to the gates of heaven. And where do you go to hide from these people? Please answer that. I want to go. Bye.
First of all, I don't know how I feel about the statement that good people go to heaven. I think it's more that people, sinners, all of us are sinners, realize that we can only go there through the good Christ. None of us could really ever achieve being good. I mostly am concerned about all the poor people that have to spend time with me there. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that I would worry. But I think that the whole point of being in heaven is that in heaven, people will love one another. As a consequence, these things will all be over. The ability to be awful will be over. I mean, that's the whole point. But so it's like you're still picturing it like you're going to be you here, and not like glorified you, in a perfected kingdom. No, the whole point of love on earth, like, for example, falling in love with a person, being someone's mother, being someone's father, the whole point of those few loving relationships you have in life is to prepare you for the way you will love everyone in heaven. Because God could not possibly show you that without just giving you like a little taste of it here. And we know that, for example, because of the famous story where the wise men, came to Christ to try to trip him up, and they said to him, there's a tradition that when a man dies and he hasn't had any children, that his wife should marry that guy's brother and have kids with him. And what happens if that happens and then that guy dies? And then they pass to the next brother and that guy dies. And it passes to the next brother. And that guy dies. Whose wife is she in heaven? And Jesus' answer is that there is no marriage in heaven. And this is, of course, because you have eternal life, and therefore there's no reason to have children. There's no reason to have marriage. So the idea is that in heaven, mystically, we will all love each other the way we love the people we're closest to here. This is like trying to code on until you're ready for there. And I think that is that way that Joey's asked the question. It comes from the playful perspective that there will be nothing more than here, on a cloud, like it's going to be just like this. No, I think the point is that you're in a state of glorification and change. But it's an interesting question and a playful one. Josh, do you have a joke? Because the mood of tonight is so heavy, as I foresaw. We need a joke or something to uplift us. Or maybe you could get one of those people back on who sounds like they're calling from the Andrea Doria.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that was pretty funny.
That was funny, but we need to be up.
And then he ran off. That was.
You got a joke?
I think it was at first. I think it was serious, and then it was like I don't know.
I'll tell you a joke. I'll tell you. Do you want a joke?
Not really, but go ahead.
Okay, you get one anyway. You're either getting that or a poem. What do you want? Joke or poem? Okay, good. Joke it is. All right. So the joke is, this guy is concerned that his wife is losing her hearing, and he goes to his doctor friend and he says, "Look, I'm worried. My wife's losing her hearing, and but for for years, I've been married to her for 40 years. It's always been the same routine. I come home from work, I plop in the chair at the kitchen table. She's got her back turned to me. She's cooking at the stove, and we talk. I ask her what's for dinner. She chats with me. Well, recently she hasn't been answering me when I try to ask her things. So he says, okay, we're going to test her. You go home and you stand like 30 feet across the place from her when she's got her back turned at the stove, and you ask her what's for dinner. And if she doesn't answer, go to 20. If she doesn't answer again, go to 10. And if she doesn't hear you at 10 feet, bring her in. We got to check her hearing. So she's at the stove cooking. And he comes home. He goes 30 feet behind. He goes, honey, what's for dinner? And there's no answer. She's just whipping food up. So he goes to 20 feet. I said, honey, what's for dinner? Nothing. 10 feet. Honey, what's for dinner? She turns around. She says, I told you 3 times, you deaf bastard. It's chicken. You get it? That's funny. No, we needed to laugh. Okay, I hope people think that's fun. Anyway, I heard it and thought it was hysterical. We got somebody that wants to talk to us named Tara, and somebody named Darlene that are on hold. And there's Monica. And Monica asked her question by typing it. So now we can address it. Do you want to answer Monica? Because we couldn't talk to Monica when she tried to call. She sounded.
Yeah. So the question from Monica is, Dr. G, do you have a theory as to why there is not a single recorded case of people born blind developing schizophrenia?
I think, to be honest with you, what I think they're talking about is the literature that says people who are deaf developing schizophrenia. I'm not sure I heard about the blind one, but the deaf I've heard. And the theory is that part of the illness, particularly where the auditory centers are affected and like hallucinating, may not be possible in individuals that have hearing loss or that have damage to those hearing centers of the brain, auditory parts of the brain. But visual hallucinations are actually very rare in schizophrenia, and therefore how blindness would be protective against schizophrenia, I'm unclear on. But it is true that I've heard that about auditory centers of the brain. That's an interesting question, and but I'm wondering now, Josh, if the person who was calling in that we couldn't understand or whatever, if maybe they were having some physical handicap, and that's why they would be asking the question. I don't know. I hope not. But if that's true, then we apologize for the that we had trouble.
Bex says, way too much anxiety to call in, but wanted to share my theories. Porsche guy fumbled with the flowers in front of the cam to ensure that it was recorded because he believed only the last event was retrieved. And I've heard that too, but for some reason, I think he may have been using a stick to try and get the quick release off of the camera.
Stick? You mean as opposed to what looks like flowers?
Well, I mean, it was sort of a branch type thing that he was holding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
not really very stick-like if it's what I.
Yeah, but all you need is a little quick release thing, like this. Yeah, you would use the stem to do it, but that's just my personal theory. Okay, let's take our next call. Darlene, go ahead, Darlene. Where are you calling from?
Virginia.
Hello. How are you?
All right. How are you?
Doing fine. What can we do for you?
Dr. Gary, I just wanted to say that I would love to share heaven with you one day. I watched you on TMC. I thought you did great.
And what about me?
To say, what about Josh? You want to share heaven with him, or you want to look down at him and spit?
Yeah, you too. I'm sorry.
Oh,
we're going to be in the bosom of Abraham, and he'll be down there begging us to throw some water at him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be with us. Don't you think Josh looks like a movie devil, though? Like if he was dressed in red tights with the horns.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we both kind of do.
Absolutely.
We both look like we could be wearing like red tights with like a cheesy pitchfork.
No, I don't think. I actually seen a video of you playing the piano the other day. It was great, by the way.
Thank you for that. You know, I have to tell you, people send little coffee tips and things. I'm telling you that I don't think I have gotten one in maybe 10 days. I have no idea what I am doing wrong. People love the music. I did one. There's a person watching who is very important to me, and they had experienced the loss of a loved one, and so I wrote that piece that was about the horses there.
Oh yeah.
And, for them, and the thing is, people really loved that. They really did love it. I think I've never had feedback like that on a piece. But as far as like coffee tips and things, let's just say I'm glad I'm not trying to accomplish anything with those tips. They're nice when they come, but they're very rare, very, very rare. But that's okay. I mean, I just think, but I have to say, if you have any feedback on what the heck I'm doing wrong, tell me.
Well,
it's like I used to get a lot of them. Just those days are over. I don't know what happened.
I know.
Yeah, I thought you did really
well.
Just had a couple questions.
Look at the piano.
So on the Nancy case, I seen on there that someone had brought up a lady, I can't remember her name, that worked with a cow gentleman, and she stated that he had went out of town for work, and he came back jokingly saying that he was involved in it, and just nobody has spoke a lot on that, and I was just kind of wondering why they haven't covered him more, if maybe he was involved in it. That was one thing. And then the other thing was, I was wondering if you think maybe, they say like the people sometimes visit like the crime scene again. I've heard that a lot on here. So I was wondering why, or if you think like maybe the perpetrators might watch like the shows and maybe be in the chats. If that's like something they might want to call in. And then I find like sometimes like the chats require you to be subscribed for so amount of minutes before you can even chat or interact. If that could be held back for them to like lose their nerve to communicate.
That's interesting.
And then another thing today, I was watching the Juice right before I logged on here to watch the lab, and I seen where one young lady had worked on an image where the porch guy, I guess we're calling him, when he was putting the weeds or whatever you want to call it up to block the door cam, you could actually zoom in the back of him when he's doing that. She picked up like an image of a foot going past, or an image going past afterwards, like he was kind of blocking it for another individual to walk past. I was just wondering if you had actually seen that since it's happened.
Mm. Well, Josh, what do you think?
I haven't picked up on that.
I didn't know.
No, I haven't picked up on the phone thing.
Monks was doing a really good job on that, and I thought maybe if he sees it, or they was going to rediscuss it later on, maybe he could work on that image and see if there is actually a second person behind the porch guy that is actually walking by.
I mean, I do think that more than one person was there, but
Yeah.
I'm not
But
so
not
sure.
in that video, right?
I'm not so sure I see it. But to your other question about calling in and watching, I mean, we have said on the interview room, we've said a few times, and we may have said it here also in lab, that I really do think that certainly the mastermind figure probably does watch this stuff.
Yeah.
Because he'd be a fool not to.
Right. Because I mean,
Of people's, suspicions.
I live in a small town, but I watch a lot of like Criminal Minds. That was like the first thing that, kind of popped up in my mind is like, because I was watching something that you said, like, someone might say to him or something might set him off. And I was thinking a lot of these interviews and stuff y'all, get on here and stuff that y'all say and do, I was like, well, wouldn't that like really pee him off? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you would think that, if that was the case, like they would him or whoever might react to it, So that's why I had that question.
No, it's a very interesting question. But I guess what you're suggesting is that it would be maybe possible to provoke
Yes.
person into, but what I think is whoever mastermind person is, because I still don't think the guy on the camera's a mastermind. I think he's a dope. Dopey person. Is that type of person would monitor everything to get a sense of if they need to sort of get out of Dodge or take steps to put a red herring out there, throw people up, that kind of thing. Don't you think, Josh? I mean, I suspect that person probably watches.
Yeah, and it kind of goes like if you go back through history of criminals that like are pending to be caught, like Andrew Cunanan, he watched everything on himself. He would listen to the radio as he was driving, from place to place,
So
trying to see what anybody knew, if his cover had been blown or anything like that. So I think that whoever is involved, or I think that everybody probably would watch. I think that it would be a mistake not to for them, because you would want to know. I still to this day, and I hope I get to know what the reaction was from the guy on the porch when he saw himself on the video that was put out by the FBI. I cannot imagine him not going, oh my God, like, geez.
But he doesn't look like somebody that's afraid for himself.
Well, I just don't think that he was ever, I don't think he thought that was ever going to come out.
Right.
That's why I'm telling you, part of me wonders, it's a little out there as a theory, but part of me wonders if the chef set the waiter up to get caught on the camera by saying it's going to be off. Don't worry.
Yes.
Because that person getting caught on the camera incriminates that person, not waiter.
Yeah. Well, I
And
hope,
you see what I'm getting at? I wouldn't be so surprised, but who knows? I mean, I just think that the person behind the curtain is a schemer
right. And I
and
hope
have no compunction for throwing torch guy under the bus.
right. And I hope you get to see new I can't remember the girl's name. They had her name under it that she zoomed in and she's trying to they're trying to work something out where you can see where it looks like a second person.
I've seen that, and I've heard people talk about it and I've looked, but I don't see it. I see a bush.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but it's just all I mean, I hope they, can bring Nancy home safe, but it's been so long. It's just, it's sad.
Yeah, it really is. I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. And also, Darlene, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all for taking it. I appreciate it.
Of
Thank you
course.
so much. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Not
Bye-bye.
be blessed. Bye.
Great call.
A nice accent too. I wonder where. Do we know where she was from?
Virginia, she said.
Oh,
All right, let's see. Tara, go ahead. You're on. Where are you calling from, Tara?
Hi, I'm calling from Missouri.
Missouri.
Missouri, yeah. Anderson, Missouri. We're in the southwest corner, right by Oklahoma and Arkansas. Down there in the corner, we're a small little county.
The Show Me State, Dr. Gary.
We are
Did you?
the Show Me State. Yes, we are.
I know.
I bet you
So-
didn't know, Dr. Gary.
I'm from Missouri. Show me. I know all about that.
Yeah.
No, I
So-
like that.
He didn't know. He didn't.
I felt
The
this
show
is
me.
surreal that this is so surreal. I've never called into a YouTube show or anywhere. This is my first time caller, long time listener. But I've been watching you guys since just not to get right to it, but to get right to it. So basically I've been watching the Today Show for years, although I hadn't in the last couple years because I had quit working in the last couple years, and it was what I watched when I got ready for work every morning. But I mean, I watched it for years. And so when this happened, I was fascinated right away. Not to mention, I love true crime and all that, yada, yada. So I've been watching everybody that's covering this that there is to watch. The Lab, The Interview Room, Brian Enton, Zach Peters, even Nancy Grace, Megan Kelly. I just can't get enough of this because it is so odd. So when a few thoughts to throw out. So when I think about something, I think about it probably a little bit like Dr. Gary does. I look at people's behavior and why would they do that? Why would they say that? Why would they act like that? And I try to figure that part of it out. Also, I had heard it was maybe John Lamb or a different gentleman on a different episode of The Interview Room say that in murder cases, there are no coincidences. Okay. So
Bob Gilliam says that.
Bob, yes, thank you. So did anybody think it was curious timing that her mom disappears the day before or the day of that she's leaving to go to the Olympics? So she's going to leave either it was that morning or the next morning. It wasn't that morning. It was Savannah. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, she was going to go host the Olympics. Whole big deal. They had been promoting it, and she was set to leave, I believe, the next day because the Olympics started that week.
I think it was that day or the next day. I think it was a week before.
Right, but I think that don't they go early? I don't know. It seems like I read or had thought that she was going,
maybe leaving sooner than that. But I think that. So you're right. Okay, so it did happen a week before, but I don't know the exact day that she was leaving. But I think it was at least a week before. But I don't know exactly when.
So this is what I'm thinking about it. I don't know why that stuck with me and bugged me, because I'm like, what a bummer. Her mom goes missing and she also misses out on hosting the Olympics. Yeah, crap deal for Savannah. So then I start thinking about it. I'm like, that is a crap deal for Savannah. That's like a real crap deal. And then Dr. Gary talked a lot about like that. I don't know how you say it, but when you have a vendetta, when you have a long-standing grudge against someone or whatever, and that could be a motive. And I just thought, like, man, talk about two birds with one stone. Like, you take her mom and you keep her from going to the Olympics. And so then what also plays in my mind is there are two different days that somebody is on video around Nancy's house. Is that right? Like, just keeping it basic. There's like two different days. The one that the day they actually think she went missing, and then another day prior, a few weeks prior. Is that correct?
I
I
think so.
No.
So what I was thinking is, where that came into play, what if that first one was supposed to be the night and the guy chickened out or something happened and he didn't go through with it, and the guy's like, yo, Savannah's leaving in like a week, we got to get this done. And so I don't know if there's something there with that timing, but I just keep thinking, why would they case, like, I don't think this crime, I don't think somebody would have went and practiced it if they weren't really going to do it. I think they maybe were going to do it and chicken out is more likely, and what makes more sense to me. And then also, I know they're just random theories, but I also think that Savannah does, I don't know if she knows who did it, but I think she knows that the cops know and that they don't just have enough evidence. And this is why. Because I was shocked when she left and went back to New York, because I'm sitting here thinking, what? I'm like, what? How do you leave when your mom is still missing? How do you leave? And then it dawned on me, I'm like, unless she's not anymore, unless you know where she's at. She's not missing, so you can go back home now. And then also, I thought it was weird that the same day or the day before she leaves, they go do the big walkthrough through the house. I thought it was also curious that also coincide with the same like day prior that the lawyers come. So this all happens. The lawyers come, look at the house. Savannah does her public walk thing and goes back to New York. And then they just never are heard of again. And I got to thinking, I'm like, Savannah, if her sister, okay, I know we're not supposed to say that, but if somebody close to Savannah was going to get arrested, she probably wouldn't want to be in town when it happened, right? I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't want to be in town. And so I'm like, did they give Savannah like a heads up? Like, this is what's going to happen. And that's would account for why she's not looking for her mom, why she's not saying anything, why Annie and Tomas still aren't saying anything, and why she went back to New York when her mom is still missing and was able to go back to work when her mom was still missing. That's always bothered me. And I think it's because she's not anymore. Even if they don't have a body, I think they have a suspect, and Savannah believes who it is. And I think that's how she was able to ration out. And then also, if it did happen to be, if the suspect was going to be someone she knew, a lot of people talked about how competitive the talk show thing is. And I have witnessed that watching it for years. And so I'm like, if she did know her life was about to blow up, maybe she would hurry back to work and to get back on screen if you know that something horrible is about to come out about your family, even more horrible, I mean. And so those are just some thoughts. I know they're kind of all over the place, but just a few thoughts that have been bouncing around in my head that I focused. Oh, go ahead.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
How long would you put your entire life on hold?
Forever. I couldn't focus. I tell you right now, and I'm a working woman. I couldn't even form I couldn't. There's no way, especially in such a horrific way. Like, your mom's missing. Like, no,
How?
nobody.
But you have she has a family. She has a husband.
Yeah.
She has kids. What is she supposed to do?
So the kids, I do think the kids throws a little something into it, but here's what I think. You have to think, if you're Savannah, you have endless resources, right? You're more apt to bring your children to you in a crisis. I would pull my kids out of school. If I was Savannah Guthrie, I'd be like, come on, kids, we're going to homeschool the rest of the year. We got to go move down to Arizona and camp up. I would bring my kids to me. I still couldn't leave the place. And I don't even think I don't know. I just think that's weird how she just is like, okay, like it was like a switch was flipped. It was like a conscious decision was made, like, okay, I'm done now and it's time to go. And I'm like, I just can't understand that unless she knows something that we don't know.
So I don't know what she knows or what she doesn't know, but I personally don't think that uprooting your kids who are, I don't know how old they are. I think they're like middle school, maybe early high school, uprooting your children, when the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office are working an investigation, to go and relocate. To do what? To go search the desert?
Well, actually, okay, so I'll give you that because I'm coming around to what you're saying. But so she goes back to be with the kids. Why did she rush to be back on air? And it's not just about going back to the kids. Her whole overall demeanor has just been that, like, I'm back and life is normal now. I mean, wouldn't you kind of agree?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that. I think she was. How long was she in Arizona for? I mean, she was there for a while. I don't think
I just don't understand. Would something with her job be preventing her from, like, coming out and asking the public to help? Because that's another thing that's bothered me is, like, and I'm not talking about her Today Show platform. I'm talking about something appropriate, like. But there's been nothing. And we know she's willing to do that because she did it for the ransom video. So we know she's willing to film something, to do something, to ask for help. But, like, why did she just all of a sudden stop? That's because that doesn't seem like, does Savannah seem like someone who just quits and stops looking, stops asking? Like, no, not at all. She seems like the opposite.
But I would have, I mean, and this is just my assumption. And look, if I just say that I went missing one day and, I had, my kids were looking for me and, the FBI and the, local law enforcement were looking for me, and it had been going on for months and months turn into years, a year turns into a decade. I certainly would not want my children to ruin what's left of their existence, with the guilt and grief that they already have. To just to, I mean, the saying seems harsh, but it is true that life does go on. The buses still run, planes still fly. And that doesn't mean that she's not in the know. Doesn't mean she doesn't talk to law enforcement. She's got a job and she's, people work. I mean, that's what they do.
Oh, for sure. And, and I pray for Savannah. I can't even imagine. And so I am not in any way trying to, like, say her behavior's, like, bad at all. In any way. I just, like, I almost view Savannah as somebody, you guys talk about, Dr. Gary talks about the phenomenon. I feel like I know her, right? Because I've watched her for so many years. So when her behavior is different than, like, what I have seen of her, of someone who would do this or do that, you just almost kind of have to think with someone as smart and as disciplined and whatever Savannah, has to be reasons for everything that she does. And I just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if the word to come out and the cops knew who it was for a while, they had known, I wouldn't be surprised if Savannah was also let in the know, and that maybe she split town because she thought things were going to get a little hairy and maybe they were going to start making some arrests. I don't know.
I mean,
That's just the theory, but I could be totally off base. And yes, she definitely should have had every right to make it back to her children. And that's so hard when you're talking between your missing mom and your children. Like, I can't even imagine, you want to do both, right? You want to be both places. So I definitely know, no guilt to her.
yeah, right. Well, I mean, I get, there's this sort of, I don't know, phenomenon that I seem to sort of run into, is that, people kind of want others to react the way that they would react to certain situations, or live the way that they would live. And I just don't find any of that tangible. I don't think that that's how life works. I think everybody is different. I don't think what Savannah is doing is wrong. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying anything. I don't really have an opinion on it, because God forbid that I'd ever be in her position. And I would never want to have to deal with something like that. I've had to deal with a lot of other things on my own and in my own life that I wouldn't wish on anybody else. And so
Absolutely.
I can understand how people react to situations. There is this quote that has stuck in my head and that I can never get out of. And it says, abnormal reactions to abnormal situations are normal, because nothing is normal. Nothing's normal. And, I, as somebody who fought the justice system for years and years and years, and I finally lost eventually, where, my voice was no longer heard, and it wasn't listened to, and it wasn't considered anymore. At some point, I have to set that aside as well. And I'm not saying that just because Savannah goes back to work, just because she's not in front of the camera crying, doesn't mean that she doesn't want her mother found more than anything. I don't want to put myself in her situation.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just a tough thing. They always say, you got to walk a mile in somebody's shoes, and I just wouldn't want to. I mean, the tragedy that my family faced was, at least there was some resolution to it. I couldn't imagine, there not being resolution, but at what point do you have to go on with living? I mean, I don't think that they'll ever be done. I mean, there's nothing to be done from, but at the same time, you have to do, you do have a life and children and eventually grandchildren. There's a lot of parents with missing children that end up going back to work because they have to.
Right.
And I know there was a young man named Dylan Ealer out of Nova Scotia. His father still looks for him every weekend, and he takes a drone out and searches, and it's been years. So, but during the week he works because he has to. You have to live life. As harsh as that may sound, that's just what I believe. I mean, I don't know where Dr. Gary went, but that's just how I feel about it. And so, but I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're blaming anybody. I think you're putting yourself in an impossible situation to understand, because I don't understand it. I mean,
yeah, you are right too. And like one thing you said resonated with me about I don't know how you said it exactly, but we expect people to react how we would react. Right. Sure. And I do that. And my husband always
do.
has a real good thing he says to me. He's like, that's what they would do, but they're not you, you know, that's what you would do, not what they would do. You're not them. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's right.
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, I do the same thing. And then I go, but there's so many people. It's like, well, if that person did that to me, I would do this. If this person did this to me, I would do this. And, you could ask 100 different people and there would probably be, 50 to 60 different things that people would do. It's just how it works. But I get it. And I understand. And,
I did have one other quick little thing, observation or feeling, it seems like, or observation to me. I do kind of, and you guys have touched a lot about this, and Josh, you've been on there, the interview room about the family dynamic, because I come from a large family. I have 4 brothers. I'm the only girl in the middle. And so, like, I know a little bit about family dynamic and siblings. And I definitely feel like just some key things that she said, like how she answered her sister's phone call with, is everything okay? That's almost like an annoyance. Like, why have you been calling me so much? Is everything okay?
I do that to my sister.
Sorry, what?
I do that to my sister.
Yeah. And then how, of course, everybody's touched on how she called all the hospitals too, but just even how they were communicating. Savannah described it very chaotic, and that, I just think, like, I don't have a sister, but if I was communicating with my brother in that moment, my focus would get ultra sharp and I would be very clear in everything I was communicating. I always was kind of thinking, was Annie being confusing on purpose? Was she like purposely, like, Savannah, I don't know. The cops are here. Was she making the situation, like, making it hard for Savannah to even really get a read on the situation? Because for all we know, how do we know that when they first got there, they weren't trying to question Annie why she's actually on the phone with Savannah or something? Like, I don't know. So I also feel like that senator's involved, because I feel like it's weird that, or whatever representative, I feel like maybe that's why the cops pulled so far back and gave the Guthrie family so far of a lead as far as like what to say and stuff. I wonder if it's because that connection they didn't get told to, basically. But anyway.
No, I mean, you make valid points, but I just think that
either way, I'll be fascinated. I feel terrible, but we've all had lots of days to process that. It's not like we don't feel terrible. We've had time to process our shock over her. I feel terrible for that family. I am very curious to see how this turns out, though, because this has some really smart people totally baffled. So either this is like just one dumb, really lucky dumb SOB, or this guy's been planning this for years and is going to have some like shrine to her in his basement. It's like one or the other. I don't know.
It could be a bit of both. But anyway,
nobody with a shrine in anybody's basement had anything to do with this.
You don't think so?
Oh, no, I was joking. That was just my humor.
But that has the quality of suggesting this was some kind of unwell, deranged person. No, this is just a person who.
Well, that's what the FBI profiler thinks.
What FBI profiler thinks?
The guys you just did a show with.
You're talking about Jim Clemente?
Yeah.
Well, Jim Clemente just thinks that perhaps it was a stalker, not necessarily deranged, but just a person who might have had a fixation. And we discussed the issues I have with that, but I did say that I would give it some thought, because when bright people get together and give you an idea, you give it some thought.
I have a question for you, Dr. Gary. I have a question I would like to know your opinion on, actually. And I just blanked. Oh shit! Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
This is.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Okay, yes. You talk a lot about the chef and the waiter, and you talk too about maybe a couple of chefs even. And I kind of digging on that. And I'm like, I could see there being definitely two people that hatched this thing that is, because there are so many moving parts. I feel like you'd almost need a second person in the crucial core planning stage. And you wouldn't be able to just have a guy that you just brought in at the end. Like it would take two people, like, cause you still got to do life and be normal. Right. So
No,
you almost like need, like, I feel like there had to be two, like almost equal or close to equal, like masterminds of this plan.
But whenever there's more than one person that hatch a scheme, generally the situation is that one is more in control than the other. For example, you would see something like a psychopathic male and a kind of weak-willed, insecure romantic partner, that kind of thing. Or two guys that are, picking up kids together to take them off and do God knows what. One of them is sort of an idiot, like a not particularly bright, kind of loyal, dopey person, and the other one is more of a psychopath. Actually, you saw that with Klebold and Harris. One was more psychopathic, one was more depressed and weaker willed. That's usually how it goes. Now,
one was older too, and
right. That figures in. Right. So now, what the person is saying in the audience was, porch guy is the weaker. No, we're talking about the behind the curtain people. That even the behind the curtain thing may be more than one person, but even there you would have a kind of hierarchy.
Yeah.
But I think, I just see no world in which these are not local people and there's only one person responsible. And that's something that we go through in the conversation with Jim Clemente and Maureen Callahan. Chris and I, sort of give our ideas about why we think more than one person.
Is that out, by the way?
Yeah. Yes. I was just Bob Gilliam wrote me and told me that he was listening to it earlier, and you'll see on the program with Ann Burgess and Casey Jordan that's also asked and discussed. One of the things that you'll see when you watch it that Ann and Casey think that I haven't said, and I think I referenced this earlier, is they think that Porch Guy might have been killed.
Yeah, I've heard that theory too. I mean, that's an interesting one. Tara, we have to move on. We got other callers, so I appreciate your call. Thank you. You really think that's possible? I mean, I guess
I don't think that there's a mastermind who gives a flying leap about Porch Guy. Porch Guy is just doing a gig. But what I think is more likely is that the guy might get out of town. You know what I mean? But I'm not so sure about be bumped off. It's possible though. I won't take that off the table as possible.
Well, Tara, thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. Let's move on to Jennifer. Jennifer, go ahead.
Hi guys. Thanks
Hi,
for having me.
Yeah,
I'm actually like Tara. I'm from Southwest Missouri.
Wow.
But we just moved here a year ago from Texas. I've lived in Texas most of my life, but I lived in Montana and Denver, and I was born in the Hawaiian Islands. So, and not military. So just parents that move for jobs. But anyway, I wanted to call because first of all, I want to say thank you to both of you, and especially to Dr. Gary, because and I've actually talked to both of you not too long ago, but when all of this went down, I had just had surgery. So I was laid up for about 6 weeks. And so it became my private obsession, just kind of trying to figure this whole thing out. And the only person that was here to listen to me was my 23-year-old son and my husband. So they weren't as involved as I was with all of this. But my husband quickly started listening to me. And I just want to say thanks I feel like you've validated a lot of my feelings. I came from a very tumultuous background. I had a terrible childhood. And I won't go into all the dirty details, but it ended up being front page news in Dallas, Texas at one point. So that was fun, and especially in your 20s. But the root of that was my stepfather, and unfortunately, my own mother was also extremely narcissistic and manipulative, and both of them. Well, my mother was a model, and he was a captain for a large airline. So living in that environment and having people constantly be like, there's no way, you guys are like the beaver cleavers. There's no way that that stuff could go on. I mean, I remember you growing up, yada, yada, yada. So when I was watching this case and when it was unfolding from the beginning, I looked at my husband and I said, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I think this is all a sham. And he goes, what's a sham? I go, the video that just came out. He goes, from Cash Patel? And I said, yeah, I think the whole thing is fake. I think it looks manipulative. It looked like something out of like the Pink Panther. Like, look at me, I'm the criminal. And my curiosity, and that's what I want to ask tonight, is more on, as you call it, the chef. In my mind, I've been trying to figure out like who he is, because I believed that as well. I said I really think that this was a hired hit. In fact, I said it early on another podcast, and that podcaster raked me over the coals. He was like, "What the heck are you talking about? This is not a hired hit. This was a robbery gone wrong." And then it wasn't even a month later that all of a sudden he was saying the same thing that I had said. And I called him, I wrote him and I said, you raked me over the coals and now you're agreeing with me.
Yeah.
So my
A,
question is,
a robbery gone wrong.
I
That's what
didn't
they
say
thought it
that.
was.
The
That's what
other
the
guy,
person said.
yes,
So
yes.
what was robbed?
And that's what, I kind of go with facts.
What was
And
robbed?
and the only facts we have is what the sheriff has said out loud and what, I'm taking what Savannah said with a grain of salt. I'm really kind of going by what they've released. And they released that nothing had been taken. So, except for Nancy. But to me, I immediately saw this chef, and this is where I want to see Gary, if you believe, and Dr. Gary, if you think the same thing. I saw him as somebody like my stepdad, upstanding. I mean, my stepdad mowed the yard at the church if they needed help. He volunteered on weekends, and this guy is literally a horrible criminal, and got away with it. By the way, but
Who's
what's
this
interesting,
guy? Who's this guy that got away with it? Who do you mean?
this guy, I
Oh,
think, is also an upstanding citizen. I think he's somebody that everybody trusts. I think he's clean cut. Um, I think he has a good family life. I don't think it's anybody that most people would suspect. And I honestly feel like it's going to be shocking when it comes out who it is. And I think people are going to be shocked. That's how I personally feel that way.
or maybe it'll be shocking who it isn't.
Um, maybe, maybe. I just feel like somebody that would do this has a bigger win on even an emotional level more than financial. I think financial may have been the tipping point, but I feel like it's more emotional. And I'm grasping at straws at this point because we're all, trying to figure it out. But I think I think it was financial motivation, but I also think he's extremely manipulative, whoever this person is.
I think that if you watch the program tonight, that aired tonight, you'll see that without getting into why we, can tell that it probably isn't sexual, it isn't flat out robbery, it isn't a deranged person, it isn't. That basically we wind up with the two possibilities that this was a abduction for ransom money that went south and you try to get the money anyway, or it is a situation where you try to make something look like an abduction, but you really wanted to get somebody out of the way. And if that's the case, if it's the latter, what you would wind up with is painting the picture of what went on in an unsophisticated way without giving the impression of a different motive. So that's the whole problem you see in elimination murderers, is they're not very good at, sort of like giving the impression of a sexual assault or giving the impression of a robbery or insanity. So you're left thinking, well, why'd somebody break in and do this, right? And that's the idea. And I can't help but think that, yeah, there's a pretty good possibility that this is somebody who's just trying to make this look like an abduction, but it was really just to get her out of the way.
Well, and I guess
Who would
because
that
I've
be? Somebody who hates her guts, somebody who sees her as an impediment. I don't know. That could be, but that person's got to know you.
I
That's it.
feel
But I
like
keep
this is
saying
some
that,
sort of
but
jealousy.
I
I keep going to
don't know.
Yeah, I keep going to some sort of weird jealousy or something.
Who knows?
Like I should have gotten something that you didn't, maybe to hurt Savannah. But I do believe that it was definitely money motivated. But I also think that this person is somebody that most people wouldn't suspect. And I did have one weird incident when I was a child. We were living in Denver, and my mom was getting all these like weird obsessive phone calls. And it was, in the age where nobody really had answering machines. We're talking, 1980. And the
Right.
guy would call and say horrible things. And I was too young to know what was going on. And I just know that my mom was terrified. And at one point, the police ended up putting themselves outside our door for about a couple weeks. And then it just went away. So I know it was dangerous enough that we had a police officer. And then my sister and I were my mom calls it latchkey kids. I call it absent parent. But, I was 6, my sister was 4. We were home alone a lot. So we were playing up at the neighbor's house, and my sister screams and said, "There's somebody going in our house." And we were at a friend's house, and we looked down and we could see a black Camaro out in front of our house. And so the older teenager that was with us, it was our friend's older sister, said, "Don't go down there. I'm telling my mom." Well, we finally show up to the house. The door was wide open. And he took my mom's, whoever this person is, took my mom's crystal and threw it into the corner of the room. And then called her that night and said, "Just so you know, I've seen your home." And it was just this weird torture. So when I see this case, I feel like this is kind of part of that. It's like I was in there. I've seen everything. And now in these, I'm not convinced that these ransom notes aren't part of this, to be honest with you, especially after hearing Savannah. Part of me thinks that the only reason Savannah would have said that, being with her background from crime TV, um, and being a lawyer, I would think that she would trust what the FBI said, and there had to be something in those notes that we don't know.
I just
But
think that the whole thing might have been orchestrated to try to get money that was necessary into Bitcoin to pay somebody that needed, that was owed, something like that. In
but
other
with
words,
all
the
the
idea is
hearing,
somebody is waiting for Bitcoin, and you got to pay them, and you don't have the money to pay them. So you might orchestrate some over the top thing to get the family to pay ransom, put the money in Bitcoin, and pay the person. Settle
Like
the
they
matter.
like they went and to kidnap her. Something happened. They didn't have proof of life, so they couldn't
I can
show
see
that.
that.
Right. But the goal was to get money into Bitcoin to pay somebody that was owed.
But
And
after
then
all the publicity from
Possibly.
all these FBI people saying we can track Bitcoin, don't you think at some point there was a pause of never mind, we've got to figure out a different way? Because if I've heard it once, I've heard it 5 million times on all these different shows of we can track it. I mean, from tech people to whatever, that once the money hits and they remove it, supposedly it's at that point that it becomes very
Right.
clear who's taking the money.
Right. No, but what I'm getting at is, let's say, just for the sake of imagination, let's say Mr. X owes, number of hundreds of thousands of dollars to somebody.
Okay.
And that person says, "I want to be paid in Bitcoin." And you say, I don't have the money. Can't pay it. Okay. So then you cook up a scheme. We'll abduct this person, and the family will pay the ransom. and they'll pay it in Bitcoin. And now that person gets paid. And I never have to put a drop of money in because the money now pays that person off.
I see what you're saying. So it
So
wouldn't
the idea
implicate
is
the
that
chefs.
but she dies. Whole thing gets screwed up. See what I'm getting at? So then what? So then you try to get the money anyway. Please put the money in Bitcoin. But now, that's interesting as a possibility. But the point was simply to herd money into Bitcoin to get some debt paid. And or it could also be that you're paying through Bitcoin a person that did the hit. Or it could be that, in other words, there's all kinds of theories that we could think about, but I am very interested in why it had to be Bitcoin.
Right. But while the Bitcoin is traceable, the identity of the Bitcoin wallet is not necessarily traceable. The identity of the people that withdraw the money is not necessarily traceable. They might be able to pick up where it was cashed from or transferred from, but there are so many like offshore accounts. So there's this thing, it's a
I
ledger.
thought they were saying that it was once it was cashed.
No.
I mean, they would have to be able to cash it into something that would be usable and therefore traceable. So I didn't understand that. Okay.
I think that part of the reason, and this is just a wild speculation, I suppose, but I thought from the start of this that perhaps the reason that there was this insistence on Bitcoin was that whoever did this had the intention of getting out of the country and going somewhere else, perhaps to Europe, perhaps to
exactly
right. But the idea, right, Josh? I mean, the idea is that it makes it easy to hop the country.
That's
and go live somewhere else, that kind of thing. Get out of here.
The point of Bitcoin is that it's not a centrally, a central banking system that's governed by the government. Although those things are trying to sort of fix that, but it's just like I said, there's a blockchain, which is a ledger that it permanently stays on, but the wallet itself doesn't have to be in somebody's actual name. That's the problem.
Well, having said that, do you think that if we're going with the theory that there is a Bitcoin involved that was needed, do you think that that was just for the waiter? Because in my mind, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that, yes, this was for money, but money indirectly. And that's all I'll say about that. I don't want I think that it was originally, at least until certain people were cleared, that's what I was thinking, is that this was an indirect windfall through.
But one thing I want to get a chance to say, and this is the closest I'm going to come to mentioning it on this show, I think tonight, is after a previous show we did, somebody had asked a question. I don't remember if it was here or on the interview room, but somebody asked how long you have to be missing in the state of Arizona to get a certificate that allows you to consider the person dead without a body so that you could collect on inheritance. Right. And I looked into that and learned that it's 5 years. That's a long time to wait.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Without a body, 5 years. Just incorporate that into any thinking you have. Because if there's a financial motive and somebody close to you is looking to collect a windfall in that way, without a body, it would be a very long time. You'd be looking at 2031 before you could go to a judge and say, we have to presume her dead.
So then the only motive,
that's
yes,
just,
I get it.
Money coming from a ransom is another matter altogether.
That's a totally different deal. All right. Well, then having said that, then you're assuming that if it was one of those two scenario buckets, that both buckets then would have had some sort of payout, correct?
It would be through the phony ransom situation. Or it has nothing to do with money. That's what you're trying to make it look like, but it's really that you want the person out of the way for a different reason.
Just gone.
Elimination murders, which is what I am saying is plausible here with some presentation of a different story to give a different impression. remember that, as I say over and over again, that's a term that I defined, a phenomenon that
Right.
I sort of established, right? I mean, of course, it's been happening all throughout history, but I named it and sort of talked about um, the characteristics of it. And one of the characteristics is this going out of your way to make it look like a stranger did it, right? You saw that with Murdoch, you saw that with Susan Smith, you saw that with Lizzie
Right.
Borden, if she's guilty, and she was. So now regarding why you would commit elimination, the main reasons are money, that the person is a burden, you don't want to take care of them anymore, that a person is a witness, they walked in on something, they know something that's a problem. That's an idea that Chris talked about originally. Remember with the ICAC thing?
Right.
That maybe Nancy knew something about somebody or something like that. Whoever that would be. And I mean, I don't know. And then the other possibility is somebody's an impediment to a romance. And then there's the phenomena, which isn't necessarily elimination murder, that you simply hate someone's guts because of dynamics and you want them out of the way. So, but so I think you're on to something with this idea of really trying to kind of understand where the money flows and what the dynamics might be, because somewhere in that nexus between of money and emotion is the truth here. There's no doubt in my mind. I do think it sounds like you would benefit from watching the program that was on tonight. You know,
I actually did watch it. I
okay. What
did.
did you think? How did you think we did?
I really liked it. I did. I really liked yours and Dr. Burgess's assessment the most. I just felt like it made the most logical sense, and maybe that's because it just reiterated what I've been yelling at the TV for months. But saying no, and my husband will walk in. Who are you talking to?
Does it yell back? If it yells back, let me know.
Yes. No, it hasn't yelled back. But it has been weirdly satisfying to hear somebody kind of reiterate what I've been contemplating and hoping. I think, going back to kind of what Tara said, I think listening to her, I could feel the anguish. And I think a lot of us just feel, the previous caller, I think a lot of us just feel, I think especially women, we want to fix it. I think we're fixers. And it's like, I would stay there. I would fix this. I think a lot of us thought that, I think that, boy, if they had our boots on the ground, we would figure this out in 48 hours, you know? So I think there was frustration in seeing what we didn't think is typical for most families that have a missing family member. In my mind, I automatically think of Lacey Peterson's mother. I think of the girl that went missing with Vandersloot. God, I can't think of her name all of a sudden. But anyway, I think her mom.
Holloway, Natalie Holloway.
Thank you. Yes, Natalie. I think these women are just painstakingly trying to figure out where their daughters went, and
You're talking about Beth.
but I'm with Josh that we can't judge other people, and you have to move on with your life. And I mean, at least I think most of us believe that some sense of normalcy back in your life is healthier at this point when it's in the hands of the professionals. There's not much we can do.
I just think people go through a mourning process in their own way. It's sort of like what I heard Josh say when I had to step away for a moment about, that there are no abnormal, there are no abnormal reactions to abnormal
Right.
situations. And people do tend to move through these sort of phases when it comes to death.
Yeah,
And,
you know, don't you?
we all do it. Mm-hmm.
You know who
Well-
said Dr. Frankel, or no, not I don't think he's a doctor, but
No, he was a doctor.
oh, he was a doctor. Yeah, Dr. Frankel.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And exactly. And, it's all about meaning making the absurd make sense. But I think,
literally say that all the time. I'm like, we're trying to make something logical that's not, it's like
well, I mean, but we have to, or we're, because of that, otherwise we'd be,
cuckoo.
engulfed in
Yeah.
madness, right? But I think it's nice, the way that you're attempting to toy with this logic. But remember always to keep to your first principles, the most basic principles, right? That to not go too far afield, too into the weeds to try to explain something. From the simplest perspective, If all the typical explanations don't make sense and the non-typical ones are just really, really, really rare, what is more likely? That the really, really rare thing happened, or that a really common thing happened, but it's being masked, it's being hidden as something
And
else?
I
And
can't tell
that's
you.
what I think.
I can't tell you how nice it's been that you have said that over and over again, because I literally said probably multiple times to my husband, everyone's making this way too complicated. I really think this is
Don't
going to be
make things
really
that complicated.
I
McDonough,
think
same thing.
I think it's going to be really simple when we figure it out. But the problem is, like all of us, it's unfortunately we don't have all the puzzle pieces. We have the border, we don't see the full picture.
Right.
So, yeah, well, I appreciate you all letting me talk and
Well, thank
letting me
you for
vent a
calling.
little bit, and put some ideas out there just to kind of, if nothing else, join a community of people asking questions.
Well, we
But
appreciate your call.
thanks so much for taking the time tonight.
All right. Take care. Thank you,
Bye.
Jennifer. All right. All right. Adriana, go ahead. You're on.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
good night, guys. I've been talking all day, so my voice is pretty beat up. um, so I had two comments. One is related to Gary's piano channel. If you are taking comments, as you had extended a question into the void earlier today,
Sure.
um, m- maybe it was just a rhetorical question you don't want to answer. That's okay as well. And the other question is about true crime.
Oh wait, what's the question about the piano page?
More about like what is the purpose of the channel? Do you feel like is it like a gift, an archive, a community? What are you trying to get to with the channel? Because in that context, lower tips may mean different things in each case, and at the same time, a lot of people do treat their own attention as its own form of payment. Um,
People don't have to give anything. I don't feel
Yeah.
entitled to anything like that. I always hate when people beg for
well,
tips and things. I'm not going to die without it.
right.
I think I'm just more curious if it's a reflection on people not enjoying what I'm posting. I think it's a outlet because for me, I'm a person that's very comfortable being in the unconscious, right? And I
Yeah.
metaphor and symbolism and music and art and so.
Do you
And
think it's
that's an expression for me.
people not enjoying it, or do you think it is you feel there's lack of appreciation?
Oh no! I couldn't care about that. I'm not interested in being appreciated. I appreciate myself quite enough.
Well, I was
I
going to say
think,
that.
yeah, no, that's not the issue. It just has to do with the idea that I want people to be comfortable and happy and enjoy things. Like for example, if I were able to cook and I made a delicious meal, I would think it was delicious, even though I was worried that other people didn't like it. I want them to like it too, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's not that I think it's not a good meal. It's just that I don't understand why people aren't going, "Wow, this is the best meal I ever had." It's like I want them to have a good meal.
Yeah,
And that's
I
all.
understand the sense.
But they do. The comments indicate that they like it, but it's like, I think it's that because I can compose a lot and arrange a lot very quickly, like I'm very prolific. People just kind of, I think, don't realize how much goes into a single piece.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I think it just looks easy. They don't realize how much work it is. It's not that easy to come up with a classical melody or to
Well, you do make it look easy because you're a professional, if you will.
But I think, I don't know, but that's not for me to say. But I only know that for me, it's an expression, and people, I'm just sort of there along for the ride. There have been times that I've just taken it down, to be frank.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for
But
sharing.
I appreciate that. But thank you for asking. I don't, the reasons I do things are really not that interesting. I'm not that complicated. I'll just tell you the answer. You know what I mean? There's no mystery to it. It's I enjoy it. I think it's a nice mechanism for interfacing with the fans. I think some people think the music is beautiful. It's more that I wanted to have a place where people could interface with me, where they talked about something other than murder all the time.
Right.
I was just getting a lot of messages from people where they wanted to talk to me, and it was always, you know what I mean. Just
Yeah, I understand.
it's nice to talk about, covers of Carole King songs than to talk about.
My next question is about murders.
Okay, well, there you
Just
go.
Bit of variety here. So I am interested in this parallel between Nancy Guthrie and John Bennett Ramsey, and just in this possible shift from a kidnapping frame to a homicide cover narrative that we know happened with John Bennett, and now it seems to be a possibility with Nancy. So like I feel like both cases raise questions about whether the offender was trying to control a victim or control the interpretation of the crime.
I think that controlled the interpretation of the crime to cast attention away from the true perpetrator is a very distinct possibility. I think that what's interesting is that in the John Benet Ramsey case, it wound up having the opposite effect. In John Benet Ramsey case, the offender trying to lead people away from the offender's true motives, instead of doing that, like sort of, it wound up just causing people to foolishly cast aspersions on the family. You see what I'm saying? You had a person who's probably like a pervert that was like, that went in and killed this child, an outsider that probably did that. And because family members don't use garrots on their children. I mean, come on. That's just not the way it works. So the sex offender probably did that. And then what winds up happening is that the person is trying to cast, attention away from themselves. They try to make it look like a different kind of outsider came in. But instead, it had the effect of pointing to the people inside the house, for people in the general population. And that's interesting. That's like a sort of variation on what happens in an elimination murder. But because the thing is, in the John Benet case, there was evidence of sexual assault.
Yeah.
So there was evidence of an outsider. But writing that note had such a phony quality to it that it made people go, must have been a family member. But it was more that the person who essayed her took the time to try to make it look like a ransom thing. And so that's a very different animal. It's a very different case. And but I'm very interested in the deception on top of killing, or on top of abduction, or on top of whatever that some of these people can engage in, because this is what we call in the Hare checklist. This is what we call criminal versatility, and it's a sign of being a psychopath. That you can do that, right? That you have all these multiple things you can do. You're not just a pervert who but you're also a killer, and you're also able to lie and write a fake ransom note and menace a family and break into a house, and you get what I'm saying? Criminal versatility, and that's what you see in people with long-standing psychopathic features, which is important. But anyway, whoever wrote that ransom note was no dumb.
You think we're able to, at this point in Nancy's case, break down if there's a post-offense narrative management, or do we still need to advance further in the case to get?
I really do think that even sending the ransom notes was done to give the impression of an abduction when you knew that she was already dead. You can interpret that they were trying to get the money anyway, or you can interpret it that that she was already gone and they had no interest in that. They just had an abduction.
There were telltale signs that there was not a real victim control strategy going on.
I think you're right. I think it's a good way to put it. I like that dichotomization. I think it's about controlling the narrative.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's a more existential kind of a thing in terms of the case. But you're right. If that's the way you're leaning, I agree with you. It looks more like that. So
yeah, well, thank you for your insight. That was my question. So
yeah, and thank you for listening to the piano page and wondering about it. Asking me about it is much better than posting bizarre things like other people do. So, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate both of you guys. So have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Who's next?
I post bizarre things on there sometimes.
Yes, I know. Next.
Miss K, go ahead. Where are you calling from, Miss K?
I'm calling from South Australia, in Australia, Port Pirie, South Australia, and I haven't. Hello, g'day, mate. I haven't spoken to you for a while, so I thought I'd ring up and thank you for everything that you guys do, and just ask you how you are today.
Oh, very, very good. Thank you. I'm doing fine. For some reason, excuse me. I thought I hit the mute button there. My energy feels fine. I don't know why people think my energy's off. I don't get it.
You just sound a little sick.
Me, yeah, I've got the flu. We've just had a very hot summer, and now we're coming into a very cold winter. So it's just the extreme changes of weather at the moment. But thank you for noticing, Dr. Gary.
Yeah, of course. So how can we help you?
I just wanted to put this out because I don't know whether you've heard of what happened in Australia in the last 2 weeks with a little girl. She was murdered by a kidnapper. They're calling her Kanjari little baby. So it was an Indigenous little girl that was taken. And they searched for her for 5 days, and then she was ultimately found murdered by a lake.
And they charged somebody.
Yes, they have. His name is Jefferson Lewis. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention because I don't know whether you've heard of that at the moment.
I added it 5 days ago. I see to my database. It was reported in the BBC, and then I included it. So, but it's a case where there isn't too much detail. You know what
It's
I mean?
very sad. There's obviously some details that are coming from the communities and stuff, because I live in a country town myself, not as far north as they are, but and it's just so devastating, and the whole country at the moment is in mourning because the Indigenous, I heard you speaking before about how people grieve, and the Indigenous in Australia, they call it sorry business, and they grieve for 2 weeks, which I think is actually quite beautiful because you're getting it out. You're not keeping it in. You're not keeping that grief in. You're getting it out. So Australia is in 2 weeks of sorry business at the moment.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting.
And then I also wanted to ask you, Dr. Gary, if you had heard of the case of Erin Patterson that poisoned the family members.
Let me look in my little list. Hold on. I'm going to check my little database.
Nothing little about your list.
Hold on. Give me 1 minute. Oh, Erin Patterson, you mean?
Yes, that's correct. Sorry.
Yeah. So I have here murdered 3 relatives, seriously injured 4th, serving beef Wellington containing death cap mushrooms.
Death cap mushrooms. So that's what's kind of
case, yes, and leading to liver damage. Sounds like. Yes, and poison.
That is correct.
Poison because of my fascination with plants. If that was on your bingo card, check it off. Because of my fascination with plants, poisoners have always been of great interest to me. Just the other day, I was driving everybody crazy at the local Home Depot, pointing out to them how many of the plants for sale are completely deadly. I found in the Home Depot sago, Dieffenbachia. Well, it's true. These are poison.
No, but I could just see you in there doing that to the employees who don't give one crap.
Oh no, one of them got freaked out and said that I should tell the manager that they don't like that they have to handle poisonous plant. I said, well, you're not eating it. so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But poisoners are very interesting to me. In fact, in the new book I'm doing, I'm covering the Graham Young case, the poisoner who was considered highly intelligent, but just thought it was interesting to poison his family members and classmates just to see what poison did to them. I mean, he kept poisoning his desk at school.
Sorry.
No. But
Erin Patterson was considered quite smart because she was actually she was a controller at the airport. So she was considered quite smart herself. And when she spoke in court, she spoke very directly and very well.
Right, but they tend to be very bright. Poisoners tend to be very intelligent.
Why do you think that you were bothering them, though?
Bothering who?
Or you were driving them? Why do you think you were driving them crazy at the Home Depot?
It fascinated me that they didn't realize that they were selling toxic things. I just think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting when because of science, you're watching somebody do something precarious and they have no idea. Like, that's interesting to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a curse. This is a curse I have in life. Like, for example, I remember, I think I told the story of this show once that I was in Union Square Park in Manhattan, and I was able to tell that something was wrong with the environment because the plants that were blooming, that were blossoming, were doing so in the wrong time of year, about 5 months early.
Yeah.
And that indicated that the environment was too hot. And I turned to someone almost like I wanted to scream, "Soylent Green is people!" Like I was so horrified that I turned to somebody. I was like, "Do you believe this? That these plants are grown?" They were like, "What are you talking about? Who cares?" And I was like, "All right, fine, let's all die." But so I think that and it's interesting because in the new book I'm doing, in the opening chapter where I talk about the phenomenon, like why people are travelers in the darkness, like why professionals seek to understand these horrible things and become fascinated with them. And the answers I'm getting in interviewing people are really very complicated and interesting. And one of the things I'm doing in that chapter is I'm introducing a word from Greek. I'm creating a word. I'm coining a word that refers to the envy that smart and morally upstanding people experience when other people are stupid and evil. So there's a kind of envy that you can experience because it's a punishment sometimes to be very intelligent and very socialized and moral, because you feel frustrated that other people don't have that kind of intellect or that kind of guilt. It's like Anna Salter that we're going to have on the show Friday, right? Talking about her wonderful book, Confronting Malice. And in there, she talks about that after the death of her son at 17, she found herself feeling envious of a psychopath she was interviewing who had no ability to attach to anyone because she was mourning so much. We don't have a word for that phenomenon. And that's sort of how I felt staying. I was thinking to myself, like, I wish I didn't know these things. You see, it would make life easier. We need a word for that. That envy of like I almost want to like be like clavicular and like bash my brain and shape it, so that I don't have parts of it that I don't. By the way, I heard clavicular got in trouble for like something with an alligator now. Like, what is?
I haven't heard that, but I heard that he got in trouble for like injecting somebody with something on a live stream.
He's like encouraging people to like take like book smaxing and like bashing. I heard that there was a doctor, a physician on TV. I don't know if it was directly due to clavicular, but the physician said that there was a person who, in an effort to sort of improve the cheekbones, took a hammer to their own cheek, and the bone flipped up and blinded them. It like punctured the eyeball. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Now, there's a way to increase your looks, take away your ability to see yourself. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like stupid, So, but I mean, I feel sorry for the person, but this is the world we're living in,
Those are the most insecure people in the world.
Clavicular, does clavicular make you want to move to the U.S.?
No, not at all. I like Australia. I love the space that we have. I love the openness. I love the fact that I don't have to see a lot of guns. Yeah, I just love the ocean, and Australia is a beautiful country. So
Yes.
I love Australia.
Well,
I love Australia.
very
It's
dear
beautiful.
friends that are in it. Some of my dearest friends are in Perth.
That's
Perth, yeah, Perth's beautiful. Absolutely. They have the best beaches, white sands. Like the Perth is it's a postcard situation every spot that you go to. It's absolutely beautiful, Perth.
You know what they do? It's very interesting what they do for a living. They raise black swans.
They do. They do.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
Yeah,
that.
they're beautiful when you see them.
Yeah. No, it's
They are beautiful when you see them on the lake or at the beach, because we see them at the beach where I live. And it's just a nice moment of like, Mother Nature is beautiful.
Well, here's a trivia question for you before you. What is the proper term? What are the proper terms for a male and female swan?
Okay, so
not a joke.
You've got
really is an answer. I want you to know I want a free coffee at Starbucks.
I'm not saying it's a joke.
To this trivia question.
But Dr. Gary, it's not. I know it's not a joke, but I'm getting a little hint of what the Home Depot employees were going through.
Yes, you got it. But does anybody know the answer? Anybody? I was so proud of myself for knowing this because of my friends that raise swans.
Yeah.
So what are they called?
I have no idea. I'm not sorry.
So the female is called a pen, and the male is called a cob.
A cob.
Yes,
a pen and a cob.
A cob. C-O-B. Cob.
Yeah.
Female swan, and if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have gotten the free coffee. But there are other ways to get free coffee. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway.
But I just want to say before I go, before I let you gentlemen go, that I'm doing a bus trip tomorrow, and I bought your book, Dr. Gary, and I have done 2 chapters so far, because it's not a book that you can read all at once because it's so intense. So I'm going to look forward to reading some more of it tomorrow on my bus trip. So I just wanted to speak to you.
Out of everyone that I know personally, the person who most loves reading The New Evil is my 96-year-old aunt. And there's something about that just fascinates me. I love that my 96-year-old Italian aunt called me up gushing about how much she loved reading the stories in The New Evil. Hearing her talk about David Parker Ray was something I will never forget. Yes, I was like, it's not a telenovela. These are horrible things. And so.
Yeah, they are very much so.
She loves it. What could I tell you? Well, listen, thank you very much. Was that our swan song, so to speak, Josh, or is there another?
Yeah, we got a couple more.
Dear Lord.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Welcome. Thank you, and I love Australia, so keep it up. Next.
Janet, go ahead, Janet. Where are you calling from?
Hey, how are you doing?
How could you forget Janet?
Couldn't. I tried. I couldn't.
Yeah, I know. You tried really hard.
That was
yeah.
How
but
are you,
you can't achieve the impossible, Josh.
That's true.
I love Janet's voice. Janet, we've got to get you to do cartoon voices. I have a cousin who's a very prominent animator. I swear you need to do cartoon voices for him. You have such a distinct voice. It's so great for a. What kind of character do you think she should play with that voice, Josh?
I think I don't know. I would say like one of the little Mexican mice.
So? I thought maybe like a school teacher that's a little off kilter or something.
Yeah, well, I mean that makes sense.
Thanks a lot.
No, I just think it's the laugh. I can just picture you like 4 and 4 is 8. Ah! And then like screaming, throwing something. Like it's just you're funny. I know your voice makes me laugh. I get it. And I love the musicality of it. It's just I just really like it, and I love animation voices. I love people who do animation voices. I just think there's something very adorable about people that can change their voices like that. It'd be funny, and so. But anyway, I
Well,
always
and
I
I
like
don't
when
even
you
have
call
to
it cheers
change
me up.
my voice.
I wouldn't change your voice for anything in the world. I think it's perfect. I like that it cheers me up.
Well, thank you, Dr. G.
Have you jumped out of the plane yet?
No, still holding that line. So, Josh, I have a question for you.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
What did the Buddhist monk say to the hot dog vendor?
Wait, hold on. We are going to figure this out before you tell us. What did the Buddhist monk say to the hot dog seller? There are so many possible answers. Try to be one with nature.
Close.
Josh, can you come up with an answer?
No.
I think try to be bun with nature is a good.
It actually was pretty good. Actually,
that's a pretty good answer, right? Come on.
Very good.
I feel
Make
like when
me
Batman and
one
Robin.
with everything.
Make me what?
Make me one with everything.
Oh, make me one with everything. That's funny. Josh, why are you putting Mr. Clean on the screen?
Because that's me. I want to be a monk.
I thought it was Mr. Clean.
No, why would that be Mr. Clean? I just don't have the discipline.
So, Dr. G, I've heard you talking about your next book that's coming up. And I'm just wondering what the timeline is. Is it going to be this year, next year?
I have to turn in some things that are required for the official consideration of contract. You know where I think it's going to go. I suspect it's going to go, and then usually they give you like a year to turn in the draft, and then there is an editing process, which is very complicated with a book that has hundreds and hundreds of citations, especially with true crime. Because true crime, you have to be very careful that you're not casting aspersions on people or making inaccurate statements that can get you in legal trouble. So that's a long process. I mean, you'd be looking at probably like not this September, but the one after, something like that.
Okay.
Well, what can I tell you? The book for the Cold Case Foundation. Sorry. See, Janet, I can't have a serious conversation with Janet. I can't do it. Janet, the way you talk is so warm and funny that it makes me laugh. I can't.
Imagine her on Christmas morning. Here's your socks.
Yeah, I can't say anything serious to Janet. It makes me laugh too much. Janet, how would I give you bad news or something? Like I can't do it.
I don't know. I think you could, but you did the last time I called. You gave me bad news.
What was the bad news?
That you had not watched a movie that you had sworn to. Yeah.
And you reminded her that her friend jumped out of an airplane and died.
Well, no, but at first I thought you just really liked the movie. Because when I talked you into moving it up your list, you said, okay, but if I don't like it, you won't hear the end of it. So then I said, what did you think about it? And you said, I don't have a word to say. I thought, great, he loved it.
Yeah, you can get them down at the local Home Depot telling the high schoolers that they're dealing with deadly plants. Can't shut up about that.
I didn't tell high schoolers they were dealing with deadly plants. I told the people at Home Depot.
Oh, the people that were shopping?
No, the people that work there.
Yeah, I know.
They're wearing orange. The ones with the orange.
Like high school students, like trying to get beer money for the weekends.
They're not really high school students. They're actually older people.
You were telling old people this? Good Lord.
They're not elderly. They're just older than children. That could be like 19. Okay, 20 years old. But anyway, Janet, so in all seriousness, is there a true crime related question burning in your soul or what?
Well, I do have a question for you, and it regards Timothy Hudson.
Yeah.
He is the minor that is
Right.
being brought up on charges as an adult, but they can't put
Josh,
him
bring it
in
up.
prison because they don't have the facilities to handle a minor.
Yeah.
So-
Josh,
What was the name again?
Timothy Hudson.
Okay.
He's the one that killed his stepsister on, well, he's
Yeah.
allegedly killed his stepsister on the.
horrible story. Horrible.
So, I mean.
And not just killed.
Yeah, I know. SA and the whole thing.
You know, if he were watching contemporary pornography, it's not an uncommon theme in contemporary pornography. And I could see that, you know.
But
that-
how can they just
see
put an
you.
ankle bracelet on him and stick him with his uncle?
Yeah.
Couldn't he be
let's pull it up.
institutionalized or something?
What do you want me to bring up? Just an article on him?
Yeah, I just want the audience to understand what we're talking about because the case is so horrendous. It's actually worthy of its own show, Josh. It's just so disturbing.
I mean, we could definitely talk about it. I have talked about it on. I've been covering it since it happened.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
haven't heard you cover this case.
I talk about it quite often.
Oh, well, okay. Sorry.
That's all right. All right. Yeah, I can see you're not a fan of the show. Yeah, Anna Kepner. I have serious problems with what happened, and when it comes to the way that they were positioned in that on that cruise, knowing what they knew before that the parents possibly, was that a beer? But that the parents possibly knew that there was some weirdness going on. They should not have been sleeping in the same cabin ever at all.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Poor girl. And then they protected his identity for a very long time. Like, it's hard to even really still find a photo of him. But what a terrible.
How long it takes to mechanically asphyxiate somebody? I mean, you know.
I think you told me once that it was what, like 5 or 6 minutes.
No. It takes, but it takes some minutes. I mean, you have to picture, and they're gonna have to figure out, to what degree there was sexual stuff, and I think that was there was a charge of aggravated sexual abuse, right?
Yeah, they were saying that it's like the most serious of charges.
I mean, the strangling had that element. Maybe had that element of being part
he
of the
pleaded not guilty, but they
or it could just be to eliminate the victim, but strangling generally is going to have a sexualized. This case is one of these ones that, and let me be careful because I don't want this sounding like a statement that's official and, people will quote me or whatever. I'm just saying it's pointing in the direction, sort of like Kohlberger, of going in my series of like people that could have become serial killers. Killing right. That way with the strangling and the essay and the whole thing, that's serial killer like.
And I believe she was under the bed when they found her. She was under the bed, covered up with like life vests or something like that.
Yeah.
But there are cases like that. Like did you see that case? Oh, I guess last year. I can't remember the kid's name, where he just like decided to kill a homeless guy and keep his head at home.
I didn't hear that. No.
Right. I mean, he just decided he wanted to, like, the guy was like under the bridge or something and just went and decapitated him because he wanted to see what it felt like to kill someone. There are some people that you just sort of think, if they hadn't been stopped, there are little whiffs there. This person might have gone on to do it again. We don't know, but there's
That's
this
so
creepy serial killer vibe going on. Well, in this case, you know, the quality of it, I mean, other than that the victim was a step relative, there is a whiff of that here, don't you think?
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
but let the evaluators figure that out. But but there's something about the once you hear strangling mixed with sex, sexual stuff, you start thinking about the power dynamics that are typical of those kind of people. Because otherwise, you expeditiously kill them. You don't have to do it in a way that prolongs it. But what happened to Janet?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you went back to your home planet.
No, I'm just listening.
Planet Janet.
I was gonna say.
So
Don't
my
you think there's
question
no way?
really, my question really is there no way that he could not be taken off the streets, so to speak, institutionalized? I mean, obviously there's something not quite right.
Yeah, well, I know.
They were saying something about that because he's a minor that they very rarely get
Right.
in I think it's federal court that they get indicted in federal court. But I mean, these circumstances, so he's still not in jail, right?
Right. He's got an ankle monitor or something, and he's hanging out at his uncle's house.
That must be nice.
Speaking of people who should or shouldn't be out in the world, in New York, one of the things that has me really disturbed is the report that I saw in the New York Post that says that because of a new bill, some new bills that are coming down the pike politically here, they may actually be releasing the son of Sam. Son of Sam, and also Mark David Chapman, who killed John Lennon, because the new law that they want to introduce, which people are calling a woke bill, says that if you're older than 55, you don't have to be in prison anymore. You can be released. The man killed 6 people and injured 7, and also stabbed 2 other people that I think was later confessed. You're talking about, even if a person has been reformed or whatever, supposedly, I mean, what about the people they killed? And Josh, I am opening a can of worms with this because this is like singing your song, right? Like, if you've killed people, isn't the point of the incarceration the punishment for who you killed, and not we're just trying to rehabilitate you and now you're rehabilitated? I mean, so it's like there's just one of these things. So it's like, without getting into it, I mean, I just thought that, like, at some point, Josh, we got to cover that topic because it's like I'm ready to rip the hair out over it.
It just, it just drives me nuts. I have no idea. I mean, you're putting so many people's lives in danger.
Well, I don't know. They'd have to evaluate them one by one, but I mean,
but even then, like, even then, they still get over on people constantly. I mean, that's what these people do. Right. That's how they are.
This is the fair and timely, what the heck is it called? Fair and timely sentence bills. And the idea being, I think the rule is if you've served 15 years of a sentence and you're older than 55, they consider releasing you.
Yeah, great. Good.
How old was your dad?
25.
He served 25 years?
No, 30. Well, he's still there, 37.
He served 37 years?
Yeah.
So he served more than 15. Is he older than 55 years old?
Yes.
Do they have that in that state? The fair and timely release thing? Is that why they let him out?
No, not exactly that one, but they have something like that. But yeah, they take offenders' age into account. Yes.
Right. Well, the other one that would be potentially released is David McClary, who I think that's the one. He's had like 8 visits to the parole board. That's the one who killed the cop, Eddie Byrne. The African American guy, David McClary. That's another one that, I mean, imagine, or another example is John Taylor, who was the guy who committed the mass murder of the 5 employees, execution style, at the Wendy's restaurant in 2020 in Queens. I mean, you're talking about the possibility these people would get out. What about Colin Ferguson, who killed 6 people and injured 19 in the shooting on the Long Island Railroad? He's now 63 years old, and he served, as far as I know, he served a long enough period of the sentence that he could be released. I mean, I don't know. I got to be honest with you. Like, that's just out there to me, you know?
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. It just shocks me that we're having this conversation. But I understand the idea that these people have to be individually evaluated. But that notion that just because you serve 15 years, I mean, you talk about Son of Sam killed 6 people in cold blood and injured 7. I mean, shouldn't there be a lifelong cost?
You would think so.
I mean, isn't all of that covered originally when they're sentenced, and after a certain number of years they may be considered for release?
Well, that's what this is about, that you get evaluated. It's like triggered that if you serve 15 years at least of your sentence and you're older than 55, they check you to see if you're a current risk to anyone. And if the person evaluating you thinks you're not, you can be released.
It doesn't make sense that they would tie an age to it. I mean, that's...
Well, I don't know. Maybe they have some bizarre idea that when you get to a certain age, like, you're less aggressive or less sexual.
That's exactly what it is. They think that your testosterone's down. You're not an aggressive young person anymore. But the thing is, once I was having this conversation with somebody the other day about it, and I was saying, like, my biggest fear is he gets out, gets a girlfriend or something, and then something doesn't go his way and he does something again, and the person was like, yeah, but wait, what's the likelihood of that? And they said, well, what was the likelihood that he did it once before? I mean, and he said, well, anybody's capable of doing that. And I said, anybody's capable, but not everybody's done it. I mean, you're playing with fire here. You really, really are.
You talking about your dad?
Yeah.
Well, Josh, look, I don't want to open a can of worms here, but the thing is, you sort of seem to have come to some kind of peace about that situation.
Well,
but
yeah.
The fact of the matter is you had to, because it was totally messed up. I mean, there's no getting around it. And I give you a lot of credit, but it's like, I see you making an effort to try to accept it and everything, but like, it was totally unfair and outrageous. I mean, I get it. And my heart goes out to you about it, because I can't even imagine how you feel about it. Because to be honest with you, the way I would feel about it if I were a person who lost my mother to a father who was incarcerated for that, I would think to myself, you really don't think very much of the value of my mother's life.
Well, that's exactly how I feel about it, and I don't find it to be fair. I don't think that he should have a second chance to restart a life. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think that it's proper, and I think that it minimizes the life of my mother and the crime in and of itself, saying that you can do this, and maybe one day if you get old enough, you can get out, even though you shouldn't. I mean, that was something that the parole board actually said. This is not to minimize the crime that's been committed, and I said that's exactly what this is, and they were very upset that I said that too, but I didn't care at that point.
Well, I just think that it's okay if, even though you are in an okay place about it, that every once in a while it occurs to you how messed up it is, because it
think about it a lot.
That's what I'm saying. It really, really sucks, but I was thinking about this a lot today because of this article in the New York Post a couple of days ago, and just thinking to myself, imagine. I mean, that almost sounds like I'm making a reference to Mark David Chapman killing John Lennon by saying imagine, but it isn't. But he's in the article. But I was just thinking, like, imagine these people being let out because of this new. I mean, it's unbelievable, because some of them are very dangerous. They would obviously have to fool the evaluator. but some of them I don't know. I mean,
Well, that's what I think happened.
What?
I think that
People,
you get so many cracks at something and you fail so many times that all you have to do is prepare for it. Like you have to give, like, oh, I answered it wrong last time, so I'll answer it this way this time. And eventually, you're going to be able to answer the questions. Yeah, I don't think that he did very well, but it's just that, that's how it is. I just find it to be, I think they either get tricked or they don't care. And
I think somebody needs to study if it's a deterrent. We know that the death penalty is not really a deterrent, although the studies are not that black and white. But like, what about life sentences that are actually life? Are they a deterrent?
I don't know. I wish.
If the Epstein suicide note is real, I thought it was interesting that it says something like, it's nice to be able to choose when your life ends on your own terms. That's an interesting thing, whatever. And because I think that's the whole idea. It's about control. To me, prison is supposed to be a complete loss of personal control and identity. Yeah. You've taken a life, and you just.
Do you think the Epstein letter was real?
I don't know. Listen, when it comes to the Epstein story, the whole thing stinks so high that I don't take anything for granted. There are so many people that are just walking around perfectly unscathed, and the way that it was released with that drip, drip, drip. Question. No, I have serious problems with it.
I hate that.
I think that no one gives a flying leap about those victims, and it's terrible. I think a lot of people should be very ashamed of themselves with the.
I agree with that.
Those. They're disgusting. But I also think that there's a lot of stuff in them that is like very destructive kind of hearsay. And then there's some stuff that's like official reports. Like, so there's things that like, there's a random email and you could interpret it one way. Like, I think that stuff that could get really problematic. But the actual like FBI reports and times that people were spoken to and investigated. Oh yeah, that stuff should be out. And what I'm saying is that some of the stuff is in there is like a weird cryptic email from him to someone, and you don't know what it means. But I have a very, very great sympathy for those victims. I mean, there are things in those Epstein files that are so disturbing that I had to stop reading them. And wow. I mean, have you been reading them, Josh?
Yeah, I read a whole bunch of them, and it sort of became ludicrous to me that
that's you had all they put out, not the parts that they're still hiding.
Yeah, but but I just I just felt like nobody was protecting, and still they were at times children. A lot of them are all grown up now, but there just wasn't any protection of them going on, and I really hate that. It really bothers me, that.
I mean, Josh, there was one place in there where I had to stop reading it. It was too horrifying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird.
There was a dental room there on the island, and the reason was, I thought originally, I think I even said it on the show, that I thought it was because if people got their medical care, if the victims got their medical care somewhere off the island, that they could tell the doctor what was going on and maybe get rescued or whatever. So you had to have everything on the island. But what I understood from reading was that there was actually tooth removal because it was causing children to bite during sexual acts. I mean, that's what you're dealing with. So, so you just have to kind of just sit back in horror of this giant machinery of lies and powerful people and filth and evil, really evil. It's one of the most evil things I've ever thought about in a long time, and I don't even want to write about it.
I don't blame you.
There's so much injustice to it, and I just don't want to. But and he was so disgusting. Epstein is just like so disgusting. So I
I can't even listen to it. Like I've seen, him do interviews and stuff like in the past. And it's just like, you don't even want to listen to the guy. He makes you want to throw
And
up.
he loved his crimes, like that kind of,
He's a
like,
freak.
like he had like a first edition of Lolita, like out on display and was
He's
proud
the
of
first.
it because he loved that story, and I think, of course, if there's a next life, this stuff, you just can't run from it. But here in this world, it's just terrible that you think that there's this sort of different tiered justice system.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm aware of people that go to jail for like months and months and months and months for like having a little, marijuana in their pocket. And then there are people that like were part of a gigantic system of abuse, and they're just tickety-boo out in the world, making a lot of money, living quite happily.
Living happy. Janet, thank you for your call.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dr. G. I just want to say again, I'm a huge fan of your piano page. Your Running Horses piece was my all-time favorite.
Oh, everybody, I see. Everybody loved that piece. I guess I wrote it from the heart. What can I tell you?
I leave comments for you, but my screen name is nothing like Janet. It doesn't say Janet at all. So I don't know if you figured out who I am. But
oh, really?
It's DB_Cooper.
Well, at one time I left a comment after you left your rules of what you would delete and not delete.
Oh, yes.
I said I'm afraid to comment because I'm not sure I can discern between witty and dim-witted.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, that's me.
Now I know who you are. I thought that was funny. I like that comment.
So anyway, thank you for entertaining my call. Have a great rest of the show.
All
right. Take care of yourself. What do we have? One more, Josh?
2 more and then we're done.
Okay.
Heather. All right. Let's see. Heather,
Hi.
go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
Is Heather C?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
hi, Josh.
Did you get the book?
I got it today.
Oh, good. It got there safely?
Yes.
Did you like the
Thank
drawing?
you. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Gosh, I got my own
Heather
spine book.
sent a copy of The New Evil to my office.
I love it.
With a self-addressed stamped envelope with
And
balloons.
then since that was my first book, for the second one, they had this thing where Matt Murphy signed it. You scared me the last time. I'm not going to Crime Con. I'm not. My psychologist doesn't think I should. Never been to Vegas. I'd be going by myself. The whole airplane thing we talked about and having to stay not at the Caesar's Palace because it's so expensive, but somewhere other place and then take a ferry or something. Who knows what'll happen. I'm not going to do it, but I did send a thing in for 5 years, so it's good.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to miss you, Josh. I wanted to meet you.
Yeah, hopefully I'm going to be able to be there. But yeah, that's a bummer, but I completely understand it. It's I've been to Vegas before. It's a hectic place.
Yeah. And I just turned 47. I never been there, and I'm not in the mental state to do that by myself.
Oh, I get it.
I'm really not.
I don't like Las Vegas, to be honest with you. I find it very, I'm too sensitive.
Well, I don't gamble.
And I find it depressing. It's like I can feel the depressed underbelly of it. You know what I mean? The person like on
but
an
I grew
iron
up in
bar,
Atlantic
put it in
City,
the
and I
left
love
side.
that.
It's just depressing. I don't get me wrong. I mean, I love seedy, kind of tacky places.
I like the spots.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's something, it feels very sad to me because I can feel all the loss and the, and the broken dreams, that are under all the,
It's
the
stuff
glamour.
like that's why I'm not going to Crime Con.
Yeah. No, CrimeCon's different, but I just it's
But
something
I
that
want to see if
I
there's
find
something
pretty.
that I can get John Douglas to sign my Mindhunter.
Oh, yeah.
I am
Yeah,
reading his what is it? Something motive?
Anatomy
What?
of Murder.
Yes.
Great book.
And I just finished the Serial Killer Files from Harold.
Schechter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So your book, I got time first. I got it today. I was so excited. I was like, Mom, don't open it. Julia, don't open it. And then I love the picture, of course.
Whatever
And
gives you thrills. So
I
what are you
love
gonna do
the
with it?
hair.
What are you gonna do with it?
I don't know. I only have 3 actual books.
Really?
Mindhunter, yours, and Matt Murphy's. Everything else is I don't have very good reading comprehension, so everything else is I listen to.
Oh no, I mean that.
There would have been some really funny answers in terms of what the 4th book was. Like you could have been like, I have Anatomy of Motive and I have The New Evil. And I have
Oh
and then
my God,
the
if
4th
you
book
would have
could have been
seen
hilarious.
yeah,
Green
but if you would
Amsterdam.
know some of the books I have on Audible, you would have died.
Yeah.
Like
Well, right.
some of them are so crazy. Like my daughter will be talking to me, and in my ear will just say things how they're eating, genitals, and it's so
Right.
crazy. And Jules will be making jokes.
Oh, and thank you for sending the picture from the, the thing.
Yes,
I
I
thought
was
that was
just gonna
cool.
say
That was
that
nice.
was her junior prom.
Oh, I mean, it was sweet that you thought that I would appreciate to
I
see
wanted
something.
you to say it. Yeah,
That was nice.
I
Well, I'm glad
wanted you to
you're a good
say
mom.
it.
You're a good mom. Well, listen,
I
thank you,
love
and thank
her.
you for all your
Yes,
support
I
all the
just wanted
time.
to
You always
come
have
say
such
hi.
nice things to say, and you're
Hi,
very kind.
Josh.
All right,
Hi.
thank you.
Bye, Josh. Did you
Bye-bye.
watch the fight?
I did what? Yeah, the Tyson Fury fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yep. And now he's supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, so that'll be a fun one.
No,
Mhm.
I was actually at Ben and Irv's. I'll be in New York because I'm going to see Beaches. And I don't know how old you are, Josh, but the 80s movie, The Lost Boys,
I'm
Oh, yeah.
40.
it's on Broadway.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I got
I
to
love the
see
Lost Boys.
it.
I love
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. Yeah.
I got to see it. But,
Well,
yeah. Okay.
thank you, Heather. Thank you for calling.
Keep me
Always
in touch, Dr. Gary, about the fall.
Oh,
Something's
about
going on. Yeah.
if I do a talk somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take care of
Okay.
yourself.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Dr. Gary, I started reading this. This is the other day.
What is it? It looks like John Steinbeck.
Yeah, Of Mice and Men.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I read it in high school. Yeah, well, yeah, I read it in high school, and then, but I think I might have told you this before, but when we turned our books back in, a bunch of us, it was my idea, wrote on the very first, like when you just open the cover, wrote George kills Lenny.
Oh.
We
You
got in
remember
trouble.
why?
Yeah, it was like a compassion killing, but we wanted to spoil it for everybody else.
It's a really messed up story, but I really like Steinbeck a lot.
Yeah.
And,
Didn't he do Catcher in the Rye too?
I love The Catcher in the Rye. It's one of my favorites. I've read it.
I have that one too.
That's one of my favorites.
Okay, we got one more
really
call.
have a thing for that book. Okay, who's the next person?
Michelle. Michelle, where are you calling from?
Hey, I live in Seattle, Washington.
Okay, very good.
What's that song?
Yeah.
Michelle, ma belle.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Michelle, my belle.
I can cover that.
You
It's a
did?
beautiful melody. I should cover it. It's a very beautiful melody. I really like the song. Yeah, by the Beatles.
Yeah. More music, more music.
Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Hey guys. Love you both. So geez, I have a lot to say, but so Dr. Gary, for one, I have like this is just a personal thing, and I just wondered if you could solve my issue in like 30 seconds, but I have a huge fear of dogs.
I mean,
Is that terrible? Is it terrible to like bring it up right now?
That's a clinical question that it's not
Okay.
appropriate for me to get into.
Okay.
But
Okay.
although it is hard to imagine anybody, I mean, being afraid of dogs. Would you large dogs or little dogs?
I was attacked by a golden retriever when I was like 8 years old.
I
and
can understand if you were mortally in danger by one.
But I never, yeah, it was a golden retriever. I never could get over it.
What about like a little dog? Do they scare you?
Well, yeah, anything that barks now, like, and people are like, my dog's cool. And I'm like, no, I'm not cool. Like, it's like when you're scared of something,
you'd have to meet. He would cure you.
Yeah, if a dog is coming up to me wagging its tail, it's like totally different. But if a dog barks, I'm scared. Anyway, okay, we'll move along very quickly here. I just I wanted to tell you that so my mom actually was she knew is it Gary Ridgway? Is he the one from Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, sorry. So my mom
personally.
So check this out. My mom worked at Safeway in Seattle, and she doesn't ever want me to tell this story. So I'm going out on a whim here, but I always wanted to tell you about this. So my mom worked at Safeway in Seattle, and Ted Bundy came to the Safeway and said to my mom, "I'll buy you 4 new tires." She needed like tires for her car or something, and he was like, "I'll buy you 4 new tires for your car if you watch my car." So he left it in this like Safeway parking lot where my mom worked, and she watched his car and apparently drove it around and all this stuff. And he came back like a week later and bought her 4 new tires. And she still to this day like won't tell like the true story about like what happened, but my mom like babysat Ted Bundy's car.
Was it the little VW?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, interesting. Was your mother a attractive young woman?
Oh, so beautiful. No, my mom like so pretty, but I like don't know how. I'm glad he wasn't her type. I don't know. Like, yeah, blonde hair, green eyes, like so pretty, but
you didn't have to be. Ted Bundy didn't have to be somebody's type. You had to be his. He didn't care if you weren't his. If he wasn't your type, he forced himself on you. I mean, the thing is that if he was attracted to her and saw her as meeting the fantasy needs, he could have been playing the long game of I'll come back and hurt this victim later. Although he didn't tend to be someone who like would eye a person and then like weeks later go after them. He was more the type that like considered women sort of interchangeable. So he was like so predatory that he would just sort of like devour a person that his eye fell on in that moment. That kind of thing.
Yeah. And like she probably had too many connections, so it wouldn't have worked out. You know what I mean? He needed people that were unconnected, right? And my mom worked at that store and everybody knew everybody and all this kind of stuff. So
she just think it's called Safeway.
What's that?
It's like paradoxical that it's called Safeway.
Yeah.
True. You know what I mean? Ted Bundy pops in, I'm not so sure. But okay. Well, that's a disturbing story. You're always hearing about people that one way or another, have encountered
especially up in that area too, because that was part of one of the
It's so crazy though, the connections people have. I'll tell you without getting into detail, that for a long time, for years and years, a woman, I dated the same woman, and one day after like 6 years or something, she told me that her mother, from whom she was estranged, had been assaulted by a serial offender. And I said, really? I probably know who they are. And she said, yeah, his name was Kendall Francois. I'm like, wait a minute. The Kendall Francois, the infamous serial killer that kept bodies in his house.
Ugh.
You know, it's like, you know, so here I was, like a couple of steps away from an infamous New York serial killer, right? We all have these weird connections. You know, to, you know, it's like we're just a few Kevin Bacon steps away from some of these horrible, horrible people, and it's just
I love
fascinating.
Kevin Bacon.
But you remember the Kevin Bacon game?
No.
It's great. You take two. Give me any two celebrities. Pick two random celebrities that are not like only in movies the past year, because I won't know who the hell they are. Give me like two celebrities.
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
Give me somebody that a normal person would know who they were.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, okay.
And John Stamos.
Okay, so the idea is the Kevin Bacon game is the idea that by going through movies and TV shows in which they appeared with other people, you link them in the fewest steps possible. Like John Stamos appeared in such and such with this actor, who also appeared with this actor, and you have to link them to Forrest Whitaker, right? So how many steps? What is the fewest number of steps where you can connect Forrest Whitaker to John Stamos? But the way you're supposed to play it is to connect everybody to Kevin Bacon, because Kevin Bacon was so ubiquitous for his career that you could connect him to anybody. So the challenge would be connect John Stamos to Kevin Bacon. Now, actually, that's a difficult one, in my opinion. I bet we could do it, though, between the two of us and with the caller. Think about it a minute. So, what was John Stamos in?
Full House.
Anything else?
I think he was in ER. Or whatever.
Okay. Can you think of any co-stars that you can connect in some way to Kevin Bacon?
What's her name?
No, I really don't know.
No.
I don't know anything about John Stamos.
Right. Well, I think the only way that I could think to do it is, do you remember the actor Sean Hayes, the one who was on Will and Grace?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I think that John Stamos was in Step Into the Movies with Sean Hayes, and Sean Hayes was in The Three Stooges with Kevin Bacon. So that would be the way that I would connect them through. So and there's probably other ways to do it too. For example, John Stamos appeared on Friends as a guest star with Courtney Cox, and Courtney Cox was in Scream. Wasn't Kevin Bacon in Scream?
I don't think so, but I just looked it up here.
Oh, I thought he was in Scream. What am I thinking of?
And it
no,
said,
he was in Friday the 13th. Sorry.
It says John Stamos was in Born to Ride. John Stockwell, who played Cougar in Top Gun with Tom Cruise, who was in A Few Good Men with Kevin Bacon.
Okay, so that's pretty good. It got so crazy. This game got so crazy that there was a college that made a thing called the Oracle of Kevin Bacon that tried to use a computer to do this. And they had this like distribution of like the fewest number of connections that the average person could get doing this. And I was very proud of myself because I found a name that required 4 steps, which I think was actually very rare. And but most people, it's 3 steps or less can be connected to Kevin Bacon. It's a crazy phenomenon.
To Rebecca Romaine, and she was in X-Men, and Kevin Bacon was in X-Men First Class.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't know. No, but I'm confused why I was thinking that Kevin Bacon had something to do with Scream. I think I'm thinking of Friday the 13th. I think he was in Friday the 13th.
You know what movie's the best of his?
Yeah.
Mystic River.
Oh yeah,
That movie.
you
Great.
really think so? Well, what about Flashdance?
No,
I mean, or Footloose. Footloose? Which is the one he did? Footloose or Flashdance?
both of them suck.
Which is the stupid movie he did?
Both.
Flashdance or Footloose? He was in both of them?
No, I think he was in Flashdance. Footloose was somebody else.
Or was
I
it
thought.
Luke Bacon? I got to look it up. Anyway, but I'm too tired to remember or care about my fellow, my
Yeah, he was in Footloose.
it was Footloose. Yeah. Okay. So it's got a screw loose. So, but seriously, it's a fun game to play. I have a screw loose. It's a fun game to play. It really is. I should challenge you with it, Josh.
I mean, that would be we could play.
I got to look up now that I'm in the IMDb, right? So I got to see what my Kevin Bacon score is. How many steps am I away from Kevin Bacon? I might be 3 or 4 away from him.
I love the Baconator, dude.
I got to look in the Oracle, in the Oracle of Kevin Bacon. And I'm telling you, it's a website that a college made to challenge you. It's great. I love it. Oh yeah, do it with ChatGPT.
That's easy.
What did ChatGPT say? You got ChatGPT?
Probably.
Ask anything. Connect Gary Brucato to Kevin Bacon. Let me see if I can do it. I got.
It's going to have something to do with deadly plants at home.
Oh my god! It actually has an answer. This is great.
What is it?
It says Dr. Gary Brucato appeared in Mastermind to Think Like a Killer with Dakota Fanning. Well, she was actually the producer, and Dakota Fanning was in Trapped with Kevin Bacon. I have a very low Kevin Bacon score. I'm really depressed. I wanted to be like many steps away from him.
You're not.
I like him though, but I just mean that it would be fun to have a crazy Kevin.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great actor. I like him.
So that
big fan. What happened?
Uh-oh.
Where'd he go? I think he left.
Is that our 3 degrees of separation right there?
I have no idea what happened to him. Where'd he go? Hold on. Hold on.
Oh no.
All right. Well, Michelle, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right. God bless you.
Bless you too. Thank you. Bye-bye. I wonder where he went. Maybe his power went out. I don't know. We're just hanging out. Yeah. Bacon got him. Exactly. Oh, there he is. What happened? Did Bacon get you?
I don't know. 1 minute I was saying that you had a Kevin Bacon score of 3 and I have one of 2.
I do?
Yeah, because you're on this show with me, and I was in Mastermind with where Dakota Fanning was the producer, and Dakota Fanning was in that movie with Kevin Bacon. So you have a Kevin Bacon score of 3, and I have one of 2.
What a weird, whoever thought of something like this?
I don't know, but it's so much fun. I can't handle it. And I think it's a fun game. I really do.
Well, that's it for us, Dr. Gary.
Oh, no more calls. Good. All right. Well, I thought that was a lot of fun. I really, really, really am looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Anna Salter is a brilliant person. I mean, I'm telling you, it is very unusual for me to read a true crime book where I am actually changed philosophically by the book, and every time that woman writes a book, every time Dr. Salter writes a book, I'm never the same after I read it. You know what I mean? And Predators is a masterpiece. And this I'm
excited to have her on, and thank you for setting that up.
Yeah, she's something else. She's special. Yeah, and if you go on YouTube, you can find some of those interviews she did with psychopaths and sexual predators that are used in training. Like Ann Burgess uses them to train people, and those are the most disturbing offenders ever. Like the stories and she just sits nonchalantly listens. But the new book is called Confronting Malice, and that's the one we're going to be concentrating on. I've read it, so I mean, I'm probably going to do, asking a lot of these questions, unless you're going to get a chance to read it. But we could talk about the gist of what we should ask, you know what I mean? But I've got it read.
I'll
So
definitely get my research done.
Oh yeah, no, you always do. So, but okay. And in the meantime, let me know if you can watch the Guthrie thing. I'd like your opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and watch it tonight. Actually,
yeah, you'll be able to get. What time is it there right now? Oh, it's over now, right?
Yeah, I'll be able to watch it now.
Yeah.
Let me do this really quick.
And thank you, Josh, for the coffee.
Oh yeah, somebody sent it to me, so I thought we would.
Oh, is that what happened?
Well, yeah, it was a split. Okay, so it says the CW show was a bit confusing because there wasn't enough distinction between the chef and the waiter, especially regarding Nancy Guthrie not knowing him but knowing her.
Well, just to let this person know, when I went and filmed for that, we sat for a long time and talked, and that was something we hovered on. But of course, you know, there's very little real estate in terms of the time that can be given to a specific topic on a show like that, and so they had to just give the highlights really of the conversation.
Yeah. If Savannah Guthrie was target, wouldn't kids and hubby be focus versus mom?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't think she was, but if she was, that's a good point.
It says it's Luke at 15 years old. They got 15,000 signatures to get a law passed in Texas related to Amy Lynn Thatcher. Oh wow, and her perp Kenneth Reed Smith. I remember that case quite a bit. All right, well that's it for us tonight, you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. I hope people will buy the new evil.
Murder in the
Yes, and what does it say?
Murder in the First was an excellent.
Oh yes, that's true. It's really true. But I hope that people will buy the new evil. I hope they'll buy John Lamb's books and Diane Fanning, the people that are, you know, authors that are friends of this show, right? We should keep a running list of them. Of you know, maybe is there a place you can post the books that are being covered in this series? Yeah. John Lamb's, Diane's, mine.
Absolutely.
And maybe Anna Salter's.
Well, and the next show is Friday.
7:30, we said?
Yeah, which is 4:30 my time.
Right. And
so I'm going to set it up. It'll be up tonight or in the morning. So you'll have it. Everybody will have a day or so notice. But it'll be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm interested in a comment that somebody in the audience made. Julia Rose says, Dr. Casey Jordan has interviewed me, and she was way off. Now, I know Casey. I think very highly of her. But I'm curious who the person is that's saying that they would have been interviewed by Casey. So feel free to reach out and let me know what you mean by that, because it has me intrigued. I mean, are you talking about an interview? Is this like an offender interviewed for other? I mean, I just don't know what you mean. So let me know what that.
And W in the chat for Otis being good for 3.5 hours. He did awesome. Macho was relegated to the living room. He wasn't. He was being a bad boy today.
Relegated. That's the funniest word. And regarding the piano page, keep listening. Enjoy it.
Yeah, and what the we'll put the link below as well in the description.
Might be bad. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you
check it out.
If nobody looks at it, but it's nice, and I like the comments. And I have to say, it's been really helpful since I posted the rules. A lot of people. It made me realize that a lot of people post odd things because they don't realize they're odd. If you sort of give rules, people just don't do it. It's not like they're intentionally pushing the envelope. They just don't realize it's odd. You know what I mean? Like most of the time. So they're like, oh, bum, and then you're like,
yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you so much. Okay.
Friday.
All right. Let me know, Josh, what you think of the show when you watch it.
I sure will. Okay. Take care. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. It's a great show as always. Always a rocky start, but we always figure it out somehow. My energy's up. Don't worry. And feeling better every day. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you guys Friday.